And welcome back to the marquee matchup of the 2020 IM GM Speed Chess Championship, brought to you by Chess.com. We have the bracket in front of us showing you all of the other results and matchups, but none of them are important right now. What is important is international master Teddy Coleman takes on the head honcho of Chess.com, that is international master Danny Rensch. Danya, I am absolutely stoked for this match, not even because the winner of this plays Gotham Chess, Levy Rosman, but because these are two people that we are both very close to. And when you look at this, you look at the head-to-head here, Teddy is significantly higher in Blitz rating. Danny is significantly higher in bullet rating. 150 points separates them more or less in each of those formats. Who's the favorite in your book?
Well, I'll say this, Robert. As you pointed out, and it's so hard for me to give an objective assessment because I love both of them to death. I mean, Danny and Teddy. Teddy, of course, lives in the Bay Area. I've spent so much time with Danny at chess camps. I just think both of them are such amazing people, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So it's hard for me at the end of the day to roast them, but that's the only praise I'm going to give them for the next 3 hours. Well, I will have to say, I think Teddy's got to be a bit of the favorite in the Blitz section. I've played Teddy recently in a Blitz tournament. I like his chances, but Danny's a fast guy. I mean, Danny is sharp and he's fast and he's got a lot to prove. I'm sure they're both shaking with nervousness right now. What do you think, Rob? I'm going to have to give a slight edge to Teddy here in terms of objective strength.
I like my job. I like one of my best friends. I'm not making a prediction just yet, but I will talk about the format. Nice little segue there. Get me out of a little bit of trouble. And it's 75 minutes of 5+1. That is 5 minutes to 1 second increment, followed by, well, quite a bit of 3+1. And then finally, we get to the bullet in 25 minutes of 1+1 bullet chess. You can read the graph. You don't need me to say all the numbers. And, well, you know, we need to talk about the format, the players. I just want to see them go at it because I promised them both I would roast them. You know, I had a choice between boiling and roasting. I'm going with roasting. I want them to know that I care about them. And that's why I have to. I know them both extremely well. I have stories to embarrass them with. I have a text message from one of Teddy's other groomsmen, and he's saying, I'm loving this already. You know, essentially, he wants me to make fun of Teddy. So I have no choice. The people have spoken. I have to respond.
They have. They absolutely have spoken. We're not going to pull any punches here. And I'm just as stoked as, I mean, every time control, I'm so excited to see how they're going to handle the pressure. And from the games themselves to all of the roasts, I'm looking forward to some stories, Robert, as well, because you know them even better than I do. So with that said, they are off in the ceremonial first move. Pawn to c4. Not a move we've seen in a lot of Speed Chess Championship matches yet. They're off with an English.
And Teddy Coleman, you know, I don't want to give away his secrets. I did not prepare either player. Both of them were giving me some friendly ribbing, like, you better not prepare Danny. You better not prepare Teddy. I'm like, I'm not helping either of you. I want you both to fail. But Teddy is historically, he's played d4. In recent months and years, he's, I guess, turned into a bit of a c4 player. And then he goes for a5, which stops the pawn to b4 push. But in some lines, maybe the b5 square is white for the taking because you can't push that pawn backward to take away the b5 square.
It's okay. Weak squares are an advanced chess concept, Robert. I think when you're talking about Danny's games, you're gonna have to bring it out a couple notches.
You are throwing all the shade thus far, and
as you've said, the people have spoken.
Hasn't Danny taught you some things? He's so mad at me for not remembering that he was a coach at Robbie's chess camp so many years ago when I was there as a quote unquote camper. Did he ever coach you?
Camp. Well, that is where my stories with Danny come from. Of course, the Western Invitational Chess Camp every July, organized by FIDE master Robbie Adamson in Tucson, Arizona, and Danny has been an instructor there for many years. Now, here's the problem, and here's why I'm not going to roast Danny too hard. He's got some, let's just say, ammunition from this camp. There are a couple of evenings in which I'm not going to expand any further because that's why I have to be nice to Danny. See, if he didn't have that, I'd roast him even more. But absolutely legendary stories from that chess camp is all I'm going to say for now.
Okay, well, I like you keeping some secrets to yourself, and Danny has pretended to blunder the e5 pawn because the knight on b5 will be under attack if we see a trade on that square. So Danny is a longtime coach at the chess camp, as you mentioned. I don't remember any of his lessons, even though he continues to tell the world that I enjoyed his lecture. Still have no recollection of it. And Teddy is somebody I grew up playing chess tournaments with. He's just a couple years older than I am, but we went to all the tournaments. So he mentioned the event in Argentina for the Pan American tournament. Ooh, Queen A1, eyeing this E5
Nice
pawn
attacking.
some more.
Still not under attack, but yeah. Sorry, continue.
No. We used to play a game with his coach and my dad where there were 2 doors to the room, and he and I were like, I don't know, 8 and 10 years old. And his coach and my dad would come from different doors and like try to like get us, and we would fend them off with pillows until one of us, I won't name any names, accidentally tried to swing a pillow and it flew out the window onto the roof. But that's how far back Teddy and I go, to the roofs of Argentina. And,
wow, from the roofs of Argentina.
D4.
That's a bonding experience if I've ever heard one.
D4. Look at Teddy go, because the pawn on C7 is a big issue for Danny right now, and the rook on C1 keeps that knight on C6 on it. So if you are going to try and play E4, here comes knight E5, and that distracts that knight away from C6. What?
92. That seems a little bit passive. Yeah, 95 looks so good. That C7 pawn would have been hanging, as you pointed out.
I just trade. The queen's under attack. The C7 pawn's falling at the end of this. So interesting decision by Teddy to go knight to D2, and I still like his position, but why that backwards move there?
Well, DJ G-Words is his handle. He just went DJ backwards instead of DJ forwards.
It's DJ Guards. And
DJ Guards, of course.
There's a story behind this. Got to give a shout out to Grandmaster Mark Arnold, who also grew up in New York with us. And it would be Teddy, Tedwardo. Somehow it became Guards, and we would call him DJ. Just it's a long story, but that's how his username came to be. Daniel Rensch, that's just his parents' fault. Got nothing more there. Queen
of
F5.
Course, yeah. Daniel is, that's a terrible. I don't know any parents who would name their kid Daniel.
Yeah, what a mistake.
Such a boring name. I mean, a little bit better than Robert, but it's fine.
Oh, that's, you can't say things like that. My mom is watching this broadcast. And
no. Well,
you better watch yourself. What about this Queen F5 though? So the queen is coming over to the king side, maybe Queen G5 next. It's not like there's a checkmate attack at the moment, but it feels like Teddy is stalled on the queen side. He had a huge initiative along the C file. That file is closed right now. Is he going rook C2 and then rook D to C1?
It just seems slow, as you said. I mean, there's no mate yet, but you know what? If black plays bishop F5 and lifts that rook up through E6 to G6, you know what? The storm clouds begin to gather on black's king. And as you say, this knight on D5 guards C7. It looks good for white on the queen side, but all of his pieces are kind of clustered there, making the king very unsafe.
Right. And this knight on C4, it might want to hop to E5 like it should have earlier. But then if you look at the E3 score, especially now, because if there's a sacrifice on E3, the G3 pawn falls next. So G3 was, I don't know if I like that move, but it does stop, at least in advance, this rook E6, rook G6 idea.
And gets that 4 under control as well. So
maybe bishop F1
but now it creates a... Yeah, I like that idea. Just beefing up the security on the king side a little bit. Although there is H5 here. That's exactly what he does. There is H5 here trying to get that pawn to H4, which is what Danny does. Well, the two Daniels have this mental connection. So what can I say?
And Queen G4 or just Queen back to G6? Because Queen G4 keeps the bishop honest on F1, covering the H3
exactly.
Square. And is black just going to Queen G4, pawn G5, and blast through here on the king side?
I think he is. Again, there's this queen on A1 that's so far removed. I like G5 here because if black wastes any more time, maybe Danny can play queen, or Teddy can play Queen C1. I don't know, try to get his pieces a little bit closer to the king side. I think this is the chance to blast through.
The main downside of playing G5, just to show some analysis lines, is I don't know if I take on H4 first, but my essential point is if some kind of knight E5 and we trade on E5, the C7 pawn's under attack. And if you play C6, then I play things like knight to D6, giving up maybe a pawn to open up the full length of this diagonal where this black king can feel a little uncomfortable. I don't think it works out objectively, but practically speaking, those kind of things can be difficult for a side with a really open king.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And positionally speaking, black's position is still sound. So maybe Danny's going to take another attack entirely, go like knight F6, but then that relinquishes control over the D5 square. It's a hard position to play for both sides. I have to say, it's not easy for either side to find a clear plan of attack without making a lot of concessions.
Right. And G5, I mean, that really feels like the move, but I'm guessing that Danny is somewhat concerned about after G5 in HG.
And he plays it.
If an HG, Queen G, maybe rook H1, king back to G1, and then all of a sudden the tables turn, and it's white's pieces that are launching forward into an attack.
Exactly. And that's a great point. Danny, ooh, pretty move. Queen takes G5. So that's probably why I didn't play H4. He wants to retain some flexibility. Maybe lift that rook up first.
Wait, has this knight on b5 been hanging for a while? Like if that knight took on e3?
Yeah. I was thinking about that, but I didn't see an opportunity for it.
Well, just instead of g5, what about just knight takes e3? And then isn't this knight on
maybe
b5?
maybe knight e3 and d5?
Ah, that's actually so sneaky. You entice Danny into a sacrifice, which he loves to do, and then you get the c7 pawn and an initiative on the king's side. So it might be worth it. You know, the engines might say you should have done that, but it is practically a somewhat difficult decision. Here comes this knight d6 idea.
Here it comes. You gotta. It feels like in Russia, if you did not play knight d6 in 2 seconds, they would punish you. But bishop takes e4.
Okay, saying you can't really go h4 because then comes rook g1 and there's a counter strike on the black king. I'm not sure if it quite works out for white, but it does look promising. And the knight on d5, it's protected by this pawn on c6. So cb5 loses that knight in return, and Teddy steals a pawn. It remains to be seen whether he lives to tell the tale, though.
Yeah, I mean, something gives me the wrong feeling about this move, and a counter blow knight takes e3.
I don't love that move at first glance because after c takes b5, bishop d4 really seems to shore up the white king, and this rook can slide over to f2 or g2 depending on what. It got
e6 is e. Oh no, h7 is not defined. What am I saying? Wait, but e6 and bishop f6 was an idea. He does play bishop d4, very solid.
I like the e6 move.
But something you said, Robert, rings true. Now Danny's got to worry about his own king too, which now rook g2. Ooh.
Throw that rook to g2. Counter strike on the king.
Maybe h3 after that to
maybe
keep
just
close.
gh. What about gh, queen h? Oh, my bishop on e4 is hanging. I'm hanging a bishop, so I can't do
Even then, the game's not over. There's rook g2. But yeah, no need to go for these adventures. He plays rook f2. Maybe gh was good. But yeah, white is just practically speaking much better here.
Yes, because the bishop on d4, it stops black's counterplay on the d file, and the bishop on e2 covers both an attacking square h7 and defensive squares like c2 and all that. So the material is even. Both sides have ugly pawns. Black has these double b pawns. White has these double isolated e pawns, and b4 play to try to get rid of some isolated pawns. I don't like the fact that pawn on b3 is cemented on a vulnerable square, the bishop on e6 staring at it in the case that the queens get traded. Danya, what does white do? What does black do? How do you make progress here?
Well, first of all, the time situation on Danny's clock, it's really gut-wrenching.
Oh, gosh, stop it with the puns.
A+. I'm going to give myself an A+. Now, in terms of what white does, yeah, it's sort of a position where it's hard to come up with a plan. First of all, you could snap on b7 for now. Pawn
greedy
hurt
man.
Nobody.
Oh, and Teddy
listens to the best, you know. And now let's something like rook f6 and intending to bring the queen to f2.
I love that move, rook f6.
Danny made a rook f7 even as an idea, and then e6. But I wouldn't go for these adventures. Rook f4, same idea. Wants to bring the queen into the defense. That rook can come to h4. This is looking really bad for Danny, unless I'm missing something.
I don't think you're missing anything. And rook h4 now comes with a tempo. It hits the queen. Is Danny trying to go queen takes h4? That doesn't work out. It's a bad endgame. And actually, the bishop on b7 covers g2.
Exactly.
Uh-oh, you can't even get into that. Queen f4 now?
Queen f6 or queen f4.
I like queen f4 just because if you trade queens in that square, you fix my pawn structure. But maybe it's a little bit risky. He plays queen f6. And oh, wait, am I winning
bishop b4 against rook g6, just winning for white.
Yep, you're right. The king comes up. I give you a check. The rook comes up. I kick your rook off the square. Here's bishop b4. And you're right. I was wrong. I admit it. And this is just, how about just g4 here?
G4, lovely, and then take h3, just rub it in.
He goes bishop, the same idea, bishop f4. Look at Teddy. That is some precise play here by Teddy Coleman. And Danny looks like with the black pieces in game one, he's just in a losing position. Rook takes h6.
Well, you know,
Danny was g6. Yep.
Danny was mining for coal on the king side, but
rook h8 check is coming. Rook h8.
And f7, what a sick mate.
Oh, he's just going to take the pawn, but he had that. He's going to rook e7.
That would have been a beautiful finale, but Danny.
That was a really fascinating game one. I would not say that either player played poorly. I think that Teddy made that big miss in the opening with knight to e5, and then Danny somehow lost the thread. He went for an aggressive approach, which is, hey, typical Danny, and then he just couldn't find the knockout blow. Okay.
And you called it. I mean, that king side backfired for him, even though he was the initial attacker. Maybe he should have prepared it. But again, hindsight is perfect. On to the next game, and they've got a very sharp scope. I've never really seen.
And if I know Teddy Coleman, if I know one of my best friends on this planet, he clearly has prepared for this line of the scotch.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do not play a move like G5 as black if you're any player on this planet. But if you're Teddy, who's like gets kind of nervous and wants to call me every time he's learning a new opening, which he did not for this match. I would never help him. He would never ask me for that. But my point is that he is that kind of guy. He's like, hey, Robert, what do you think about this? He's not playing G5 unless he's looked at it with somebody. But now I'm worried because he's spending a bunch of time after playing G5 and casting kingside.
Yeah, it felt good at the time, #thug life. And definitely, I agree. That was prep. But Danny probably diverged. Now,
what about Queen C5?
Right. I was going to say, it can't go too wrong with that endgame, right? Because white recaptures on G5, black can take the bishop and go bishop F5. I find it hard to believe that, at best, maybe it's a symbolic advantage for white. I don't think black's worse there. He decides to take with a knight. He goes for the principled approach.
Oof. I thought Queen E5 was the principled approach. This is the more...
I agree. This is the K.
I guess if you get F6 in and white can't take advantage of this knight on E5 being pinned, then what black did was really smart. Just steal a pawn and run away with it. And H3, not really the type of move you want to play when you've given up a pawn, but you, I guess, are worried about bishop G4. Like, if you just go back and move, if I play A3, in comes bishop G4, and I'm sorry, Danya, but that queen is trapped.
That wins the game, yeah. And H3 is a move. I think King H... Danny's got to get F4, and he's got to open up the king side. Otherwise, if Teddy gets out his light squared bishop, puts his queen on G7, he's consolidated. Maybe even with King H1 and F4, it's too slow. He goes F4. Okay, Teddy may... Yeah, so that's the only way to try to make this work and introduce some intrigue into the position.
I don't know if I love that decision by Teddy. Why would you take that bishop?
Like, I agree. I don't understand.
You opened up white's attack. Yeah. That might have just been a losing move on the spot.
Bro, this looks terrible. I'm going to say rook E8 and FG.
Yeah, wait, just go back one move here. If you just take on F4, bishop F4, it is starting to look scary. But at least here, the black king side feels a little safer, and you get a tempo to develop and connect your rooks. What has happened in the game after knight takes queen D8, just take on G5 at some point. Rook E8, queen E8, F takes G5. Maybe there's queen E5 at the right moment, going for the counter strike on H2, but there's bishop F4 blocking the queen's access. So unfortunately for Teddy, if he was aiming for something like this, bishop F4 is just in time.
Bishop F4 is a great resource, such a nasty move. And yeah, just look at black's king. It's wide open. I'm sure that maybe the computer, maybe queen G6.
Yep, I was about to say queen G6 or queen E4, one of these moves to just try to trade the queens as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't bury him quite yet, especially because queen G6, queen F3, and then the bishop comes out to E6. Notice that F8 is very well protected, so black can bring a rook there. And it's the same narrative. White's king is not entirely out of the woods. That bishop on D6, as you point out, Robert, can combine with a queen battery on E5 or G3 later on. So Teddy's actually made a couple accurate moves here.
And the knight on A4 is actually quite a bad piece, right? That knight on the rim is not doing anything. It's covering the C5 square, so you can't throw in a bishop C5 check, but the knight is not where it needs to be when you are aiming for the king side. And now, since there's a queen trade being offered, queen E3 is a type of move, queen D2, or queen takes G6. I don't like the queen trade because it's actually even number of pawns. It kind of looks like white's up a pawn, at least to my eyes, and I have 4 of them. I wear glasses. And here, white has these 2-on-1 advantage, and there are double pawns on the queen side, but it is an even game by material. And if you take on G6, eventually, as you said, the bishop lands on F5, the rook comes to B8. It feels like black has not just compensation, but can even turn the tables and make an advantage out of this.
Yeah, man. Before the broadcast on live, Danny was entertaining us with his famous Alex Yermolinsky impression. And Danny is really my idol when it comes to impressions. So Alex, definitely, I feel like he's frowning somewhere. He's very happy the way Danny has played this position. And I feel like queen takes G6, Robert, the more I looked at that position, I feel like that might be a practical choice because, black still has bad pawn structure. Danny's going to go B3, bring the bishop back to E3. He's got control over the C5 square. I don't think he's worse here necessarily, but obviously he wanted more out of that opening.
Is there a trick here? If rook F6, do I have bishop E7? Is that Teddy's point? That if you go rook takes G6, go king F7, get out the way, hit your rook. If your rook moves, then win your bishop on G5?
Nice little tactical detail. Yeah, the rook has no heir. And Danny does play bishop E3.
And I don't like A5.
I don't like that. That puts it on a dark square.
And I don't like B3 either. I wanted to go rook F6. Like, just bring that rook to attack the G pawn.
And what if king G7 there?
And then bishop D4.
Nice.
Right? So I'm just bringing my pieces up, bishop D4. The king's got to get out the way. And that's a problem for black.
I agree.
B3. And maybe Danny's being a little too tame at the moment. Bishop A6, you're hitting the rook. If rook to F6.
There we go.
You invited it. Now bishop D4. Is there rook b4? No, just rook.
I was thinking rook d6 and the rook just sweeps through those pawns. I think Teddy might have assumed there's something here, and I don't think there is anything.
Yeah, king h6 might walk right into a mating net after rook f7, for instance. And even if I don't mate you, I can just play with like bishop c5 and trade pieces, and your double c pawns are pretty weak.
Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere to turn here, and I mean, because it's an endgame, it's so easy to underestimate tactical resources. But yeah, this is just amazing position for Danny, and he's just got to be calm and practical here. I like rook f7. I really like bishop c5. That's a very Uncle Sasha kind of move. Just simplify the position, win slowly, slow win. Maybe that's what he needs to get on the scoreboard. But rook f7, king g5. Does black get mated there?
No, bishop, black's not getting mated. And all of a sudden, the black king might be useful with counter chances.
Yep, that's true.
And actually, rook f7, there's also rook e8, just keeping the e3 square from the bishop. So h4 played.
He's still thinking about mating him.
Well, rook f8, right?
I don't really like h4, but he's still better if he takes the rook, right?
Yes, absolutely. So do you throw in bishop e3 check first just to kick the king back a little bit before taking on f8? I guess it doesn't matter. You can always throw in bishop e3 check. But it's just one of those things I think about move orders. Is the king very active on h6? Do I want to push it back? But you have to be happy to have two bishops, because this bishop on a6 will try to land on e2, where it provokes his pawn on g4 forward, and that leaves, and there's bishop e3 to start. I think I've done enough commentary with Danny to know the types of moves that he likes every now and then, because sometimes he catches me by surprise. And king f8 or bishop f8? I like king f8.
Yeah, bishop f8 played. Bishop d2, and that pawn on a5, we called it. You called it, Robert. That pawn on a5, which he pushed there, didn't seem like a problem at the time. Now it's actually being. But bishop e2, does that yield sufficient counterplay against white's pawns? I don't think so. I think he's in some trouble here.
He certainly is. And bishop e2, he plays bishop to b4, but I was worried about just taking on b4 and some kind of knight c5, cement the knight in. But in this variation, after bishop takes, a takes, knight c5, maybe then there's bishop e2 to d1 if you're in time to go after the c pawn. What white wants to do is don't care about the g pawn. You want to win that pawn that lands on the b4 square and then push your a pawn up the board.
Right. Exactly. And there's some decisions to be made here for Danny.
Yep.
Bishop f4.
Don't like that move.
Bishop f4. Not very good move by Daniel Rensch. What he doing in this position.
Bishop
so what is
E2.
How does bishop e2 now, and that bishop on b4 guarding c3. Okay, so bishop e2, let's say I go g5. Okay, or bishop c7 and c3 maybe. But I agree, bishop e7 there at the end. Maybe you mentioned that, so I wasn't.
No, I didn't actually mention it, but I was going to. The point is that if I could take both of your pawns and keep my g pawn, then two bishops and a pass pawn work together very well. I understand that white is trying to secure a passed a pawn and run that down the board, but bishops are good at recovering against pawns because they control the full length of the diagonal. So right now is a critical decision. Do you play this move g5? The downside of playing g5 is there's bishop e1 trying to go after the h4 pawn. So it seems like maybe h5 is another idea that should be worthy of consideration. But then the c2 pawn can become in danger as well. So it's a really difficult choice right now for Danny.
But he's got to make it. He can't leave himself with 10 seconds. I mean, this is not a position that he's liable necessarily to lose. But if you leave yourself with 10 seconds in any position virtually, you just cannot play it accurately enough. Teddy has managed this time very well. He's got over a minute. I feel like Danny's just got to play h5. He goes c3.
Bishop e7. Actually, no, bishop d6. Maybe.
Bishop d6 looks pretty good, right? Yeah. Ooh.
And then you're claiming the knight on a4 is not a very happy piece.
Is white better anymore after bishop d6? He must be, but how to continue the... Maybe bishop takes d6 and g5. And no, that's bad. I don't know about the c3 move.
Yeah, if you have to push this g5 pawn, the issue is then one black pawn, the pawn g6, covers two white pawns, and then the black king will just enter via f7, e6, f5 with his pawn g5. And here's bishop d6. King f7. You just got to go. And Teddy has a slight lead on the clock.
And I'm not sure he's worse. He might even be playing for a win here. Bishop, where should the bishop go? To b5?
D3, to D3. Because now bishop b1 is a very serious threat.
Very nice. And then bishop
back
c2.
Yep.
Oh, that is sick.
So knight b6, I think or knight b2. One of those two moves must be played. And there's knight b6. And what Danny wants is a4, b4, push that a pawn down the board. And bishop b1 only... What? Why not a4?
a4 and then b4.
Yeah, I thought a4 b4 was the way to go here.
Right. The speed of the pass pawns is so important. Now Teddy brings his king in. I don't know what's going on here. It's such a complicated. There's so few pieces, but it's so complicated.
King f5.
King f5, king f5, and king g4.
Oh, c5 just trying to stop the
but now
b4 pass. But now I could take d4 check. Throw d4
First
check.
D4 check and CB. Yes.
Yes, d4 check, because then you remove the protector there. Teddy finds it, and they're both in time till 17.8 to 10. I think CD because
what a complicated position.
This is it fizzling
now
out?
Black's definitely play for a win. Black's playing for king f5.
Yep.
But he's not gonna. He doesn't have enough time. Knight c. You got to collect the pawn, then quickly come around and take on g6.
You must, and that's your knight takes d6.
Knight f7.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. And you can always go knight h8 or knight e5.
Yeah, or knight e5.
Wow, that was a fascinating battle. I think out of the opening, we both liked Teddy's position with the extra pawn, though Danny, of course, had counterplay. Then Danny outplayed Teddy, and Teddy, just in this critical moment, he found enough counterplay to hold the balance.
Yeah, I mean, somehow I feel like it's easy in those positions to start mixing up plans. You come up with one idea, you don't like it, then you switch to another idea, and in doing so, you give your opponent time, which is exactly what happened. Teddy brought his king over, and I feel like that was the deciding factor in giving him enough counterplay.
And I'm already going to talk to Teddy after this match. I don't like this line for white. This little knight f4 thing.
I'm not familiar with it. Is it like a? Does it exist?
Are you asking me if it's like the limit? Because right now I just am not into it at all. And the bishop did come to f3, but now we've got this sort of hedgehoggy structure where what does white have going for me? The plan isn't entirely clear. Now the c4 pawn.
Rook c7, yeah.
Queen b3 you have to play.
Yeah, but I never like those positions where you overextend yourself so much in the name of a space advantage.
Yep.
But now knight b7, okay.
Ooh, some kind of knight takes e6.
Knight e6,
is where my
exactly
mind is
what caught my mind here. And rook ac1, I think is, yeah. The problem is maybe you have to take on b7 and go rook c1 and just safeguard that pawn on c4.
This actually worked out a lot better than I thought it would for white.
Are you still going to make that call after the match?
Oh, absolutely. I'm telling him he's not going to play this anymore. But for now, he's his own boss. Yeah, Teddy, I know at some point you'll hear that I said that. I don't like this line, my man. And actually, why did he switch to d4 in the first move? Because he played c4 in the previous game.
Right, which turned out well. Wait, Robert, just to clarify, do you like this line for Teddy? I just want to know if you like this line.
No, not really a big fan. I also just think stylistically it doesn't really suit him.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you mentioned that or not.
Yeah,
I'm kidding, of course.
I can mention it a few more times if you like. b5 played by Teddy.
You know, there's one just random idea that's catching my. If Danny gets his rook to c7 and then Teddy plays knight e4, there's knight takes knight, queen takes knight, and rook takes c4. It's not gonna. It's irrelevant now.
You tricky guy. I like that. And this trade on b5, it's open up the a file, which should be useful for, say, queen a8 right now, as an example. But also d5, and there's queen a8 first. But d5 makes white's life more difficult, because if I get d5, c5 doesn't come with like the pawn chain when you had a pawn on b4, pawn on a3, and then a c5 push. And so d5 will strike and challenge white's center in a meaningful way. And so Teddy chooses to play d5, but this bishop on e7, I guess he's playing against that. Knight b4, knight c6 coming.
Yep. We saw similar types of battles in the Koszlinska-Silecki match where it's all about the piece placement. Someone might look at this and say, oh, the c5 square is weak. But as you say, Robert, if Teddy gets his knight to c6, that's just so much pressure on the queen side caused by the pieces.
These two knights are in there. And there's kind of a two knights tango for black. Well, not anymore. The knights on f6 and g6. The knight on g6 in particular, you probably want to play e5 and get a knight to e4, and then a knight to e5. I jumbled what I was trying to say, because the knight on g6 is dominated by the pawn on g3. A pawn 3 squares away from a knight often dominates said knight. And here's knight c5. That's an outpost.
I like that idea. E4, knight d3. Otherwise, black might just get choked to death here. I mean, he's really on the back ranks. So e4, knight d3 going to be the critical idea, I think. And that's going to decide the game.
For Teddy, I'm looking at h4, h5 to, oh my gosh.
Whoa. Spicy.
We had the same reaction. We were both like, what? Oh,
yeah,
actually,
it's not. It doesn't look that bad. You know, it's kind of like avocado toast, which I'm sure Teddy has a lot of now that he's in the Bay Area.
Teddy is definitely an avocado toast guy. I can affirm that. F5. Okay.
Wow.
He's trying to go f6. He's going full on attack here. Oh, wait, you can't go knight e7. There's knight takes d6.
You might make avocado toast out of black's position, let me tell you, if Danny's not careful here.
Yes.
You said you can't go knight e5?
Oh,
You
95.
can't go
So
knight e7.
97, the d6 pawn is hanging, not to mention f6 for white, just going full on attacking chess, breaking open the black king.
Yeah, so knight e5 also has the benefit if knight takes d takes, that opens up the bishop on f8. Not important right now, but it can later come to c5 if black's knight, goes for greener pastures on d3.
And Danny thinking, so it's a very tough choice right now between knight to e7 and knight to e5, because either way, white is gaining from it. And I see that we have why did Danny not rig this tourney for himself? Well, Daryl, you know that Danny wouldn't do that, but you're becoming a devious lad in front of everybody's eyes. Maybe stick to basketball, my friend. Just kidding. Keep doing chess. We love that you're here. Yeah, f6. That's not going to be happy for this black king.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I really don't understand knight e7. I thought knight e5 would have been, even just practically speaking, freer in some way.
Yes. And oh my gosh. So which of the many things do I take on f6 or take on d6? Knight takes d6. Why not? Wait, what do you do after knight takes d6? Forking your rooks? If
That
knight takes d6,
so
I have queen g4 check, and I'm mating your king.
Oh, yeah, that looked crushing on the spot.
And bishop takes f6 played by Teddy. It makes sense just to recapture the pawn, but it felt like he missed an opportunity to just go for a checkmate in a free pawn d6 with rooks being forked. So that's a missed opportunity. I still like white's position here. I think you do as well.
Yeah, I mean...
he's like, please play knight to d3. Wait, but knight d3, rook d3, pawn d3, queen e8, rook e8, d2, you have knight c3. Oh, because that pawn is so close to
saving that pawn.
But
and that bishop... Yeah, that bishop on f8. I mean, I really do think that knight takes d6 would have ended it immediately. Now somehow Danny's... I don't know, he's somehow getting his pieces. And now he plays knight e5. He's basically saying better late than never, but maybe... Oh, the knight f3 check.
Well, I can even give up my queen.
Devious guy.
Like queen e4, knight f3, rook e4, rook e4. And I'm like, I have a last for compensation. Rook, knight, and pawn for the queen.
Yeah, I mean, positionally, black's position is just as ugly as Russell Westbrook shooting a three-pointer.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta get into it. But something tells me Teddy's not feeling too comfortable. I feel like he senses that he let the immediate win slip here.
Yep. And he's debating right now between his king g2, but that doesn't stop knight f3, does it?
Mm-hmm. Especially because rook f3 is out of the question. What white will lose the rook on e1 as well.
Yep.
What is he planning on knight f3? F5 is not so bad either, but knight f3 was a big chance there to get into the initiative.
F5, that is a Danny Rensch move if I've seen one.
Yeah, queen h5 I like.
Going after the f5 pawn.
But now rook f7.
Yep. Oh,
he's playing with some serious fire all game, but he's been getting away with it.
And the queen on 8 is perfectly situated against that pawn on c6, and beyond that pawn on c6 is the king on g2. So there might be some e3 checks if you play c7. But I don't think e3 is scary, so c7 should be played. It is. The knight on b5, a perfect anchor for that pawn on c7, protecting your passer. f4. So
f4.
Queen d5. There it is.
Nice. What a move. Queen trades out of the question. He's got to play queen c8, I think. He's got to play queen c8, but then rook takes e4.
And then f3 check, right? Queen c8, rook. Oh, your rook.
But rook f3, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about your rook there covering the square.
What about starting with f3 check and then going queen c8 so that you have the h3 square? I know it's complete desperation, but it's better than nothing, maybe.
I like that better, that's for sure. f3, I don't even know where my king should go. Like king f2, queen c8, trying to get the queen to h3. You're getting aggressive on me, trying to mate the white king. I still could probably take on e4.
Yeah, for sure.
Messy.
Now he plays queen. I just don't see it after rook takes e4. Maybe he wants some queen g4 business, but none of that works. That rook on c3 is the unsung hero of white's position, defending the f3 square.
Yep.
Completely eliminating black's counterplay. I feel like this game's just on the cusp of being over. Red Rover, as Danny says.
First, the rook on c3 defended the d3 square against knight's d3, and then it covers f3. You're absolutely right. It's been a totally great piece for white, and then the knight on b5 has been a workhorse. It just has been there for a long time. Just planting its roots on that square that couldn't be kicked. Watch out for f3 check, blundering the queen on e4. So don't play rook f3 either, because then knight h4 check.
It's okay. Why does Teddy Coleman, not Danny Rensch? So we don't have to worry about that.
Well, what do you do here? Because queen f3 is also knight h4 check.
Actually, yeah. Now that maybe king back, king g1.
Then queen d1 check.
You're so annoying, Robert.
I'm sorry, man.
Why did I? Well, I guess I shouldn't shoot the messenger. Yeah, somehow there's a lot of counterplay here. Teddy needs to find a precise move.
Yes, he does. And the one move I'm thinking about is rook e3, because you can't take my rook on e3 because your queen's hanging. And I don't know, somehow it makes me feel safer protecting my queen this way, even though it's a ridiculous looking move. So I'm gonna.
No, I like it. It's creative.
Thank you. I get style points, even if it's bad.
Exactly. What about king h1, queen d1, bishop g1? But okay, he goes queen. I feel like that's a little bit of panic. He's forcing the queen back, but that was the pride of white's position. Yeah,
now the queen can just slingshot right back to g4 at any time. So that was okay, or not. Can't get right back
H3.
there.
Yeah, he's stopping that, but fg is a very double-sided move because but maybe fg, rook g3, queen takes c4.
I want to play rook takes g6 so bad, and you know I want to do it, but it's not going to work out.
I know we really want to do. I roasted Danny, but it's tough love, and I actually like the way he's holding on here. He's finding some really good resources, some really good practical resources.
Yep, and f takes g3 has to be the move, because what else can you do to keep up the initiative?
It's got to be. You got to take on c4. That's the key, because then the queen threatens to come to f1.
Oh, queen f1 is nasty.
And b5 is saying, let's not forget about that either.
So what do you even do here is
knight c3.
Knight c3.
Because queen f1, king h2. For now, it's still holding on. Knight can come to d5. Oh, d5.
Can I just steal that pawn with my knight? Oh, queen of
queen.
He wanted some kind of queen f1, bishop d6, I guess, but oh, what? Okay, now just take queens. b6.
Things peter out. Wow.
Isn't white the one who can press on a little bit here?
Definitely, but I think black shouldn't have trouble holding the drop.
Look at the time, though, Ganya.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You never know with 8 seconds.
We'll see their bullet skills for the first time today. Teddy Coleman, traditionally not a big bullet player. That rook's trying to get to a3.
Rook b4.
c1 was nice.
He had rook before they're winning the pawn, but seatbelt's fastened here because anything can happen in a time scramble like this. Forks can be missed with the knights 95. On the board. Never mind.
I like the way this is happening is because even though this should not be winning, h4 check and then run the king over. Mistakes happen when you have 4 seconds left.
Of course, and he's got to try, definitely.
Danny offered a draw. Teddy, I will not be friends with you if you accept that draw offer, so he didn't.
And now, unfortunately, that king comes so fast, it is a draw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't blend your rook, both of you.
Exactly. Don't play king b2. Well, now it's okay.
Okay,
here we go.
We're on a draw. Ooh, that was a very back and forth game. So right now, Teddy has a 2-1 lead in this matchup. And it's been very close, right? This has been a pretty level matchup thus far. Sometimes you see players blundering like crazy. There, of course, are inaccuracies. We all would make them in a speed chess, time patrol, and we have a Scotch game. So Danny Rensch is eating his own heart out. He's so happy to be here. All of those platitudes and things that he says are happening. Bob's your uncle. What else? What else should we think?
Well, when you said the Scotch, I just remembered a very quick story at the Bay Area International. I think this was 2011. I was playing and Danny was playing, and Danny was doing the funniest like Scottish Irish accent at the tournament between the rounds. Okay. And I don't know why, but I thought it was so funny. And it was so funny that even during the round, if I looked at him once and he looked back at me, I would burst out. I could not contain myself. I was laughing so hard. So I would just wait until after the round. I could not look at him. It was one of those things. I kept hearing that accent in my head. Yeah. And here he is playing the Scotch opening. I don't think it's quite as funny now, but
yeah, I don't want you to tell that story ever again. It really wasn't funny.
Okay. Duly noted. Noted.
Good. Glad we're on the same page about that.
We are absolutely.
That is a good story though, because
just like your beard. Neither
what about my beard? It's gone. It doesn't exist. It's just
exactly. So just like my stories, so your beard, both will not see the light of day again.
Okay. I mean, it grows back pretty quickly. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but that's just
so do my stories.
Oh, nice one. Well, Teddy and I actually have a story like that where we played the Foxwoods Open. Must have been the year 2006 or 7, and we were playing each other. Maybe it was earlier than that. Maybe 2005, whatever it was, 3. But we were playing, and we just couldn't stop laughing because we're very good friends, and we had to agree on a draw. We just couldn't play the game seriously, and my dad wasn't happy about that. By the way, not about the result, but just the fact that like I didn't play a serious game. And this line here, I believe I've seen Alex Onishuk play the black side of this one in U.S. championships past. Is that right?
I think it was Alex Offishuk.
Oh my!
But
Tanya,
yeah,
don't do that to me.
It's an addiction.
Don't do that to me.
Was he white but he must have been black, right? Because he doesn't play e4 with white very often. Or was he actually white?
He was black, and I think his pawn was an a7, and some of his b pawns have taken on c7, took on a7. Might have been a Sam Shanklin actually. Mm-hmm. This was many years ago. Yeah,
Sam used to play the Scotch quite a bit, so that makes some sense.
Yep. Danny here thinking, because the e5 pawn is under attack, so bishop f4. Where's this white king going? It can't castle kingside because the bishop on a6 cuts that axis off.
Yeah, and the queen side allows some, maybe the lesser evils to castle queenside, right, and tuck the king on b1.
What about bishop d6 here? That's not good. Bishop d6 is bad.
Oh, interesting. You wanted to take c7 and e5, but
well, maybe actually it was good.
Oh, ed. You wanted to take everything on e4 and that
no.
Oh, I lost my. What am I saying? Sorry.
He takes his queen g4, pin your queen and win it. I
don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I didn't get into the U.S. championship.
I think you played that.
How about queen d6? Just wanted to point that out.
Right now?
Yeah.
What?
Queen d6. It's probably a bad move, but you just wanted to point it out.
I don't think it's bad. You win the rook on a1 at the end there. Look at you with the tactics. I'm glad I could inspire you, and you put a heavier piece on the square that I wanted to put it.
Exactly. I always have to one-up everybody. That is my motto in life.
Queen a7, queen b8 checkmate is the threat, just for the record.
Right.
But the knight on c3 is under attack, so you probably can't get away with it just yet.
Yeah, it's close, actually. Queen a7, bishop c3, king d1. But something tells me black should have enough counterplay there.
Yeah, but that is scary. So you want to stop queen a7, but you don't really want to play c5, for instance. You want to be a little more forceful. Queen d5.
Queen d5, yeah.
But still, I mean, this is worse than what Teddy could have achieved if he had played bishop d6 to start with.
I agree. And maybe something like rook c1 should be considered. But by the way, g2 is hanging. That's another unpleasant threat. Queen takes g2. There's a lot of stuff going on here. If black is able to play f6, I don't know, Robert. I'm a little scared for Danny's position here, given that he cannot castle with either side.
Right.
To either side. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this.
The pawn on g2 hanging is a very important point because not only is the rook hanging, but there are so many mating threats for black. This bishop on a6 is a hero. Cutting the king off. The queen now cuts the king off from the queen side. Mm-hmm. And I don't even see a move for white at the moment. F3, maybe?
Maybe. I was thinking, yeah, because also you get that f2 square for your king, potentially.
Exactly. And then you still have to worry about bishop c5 eventually with a pin on your queen there. So
right. But still, I mean,
oh no.
He goes, that can't be right, though.
Oh, and he took so quickly on c3.
Queen g2 was also possible.
Right. I liked keeping that tension alive and taking on g2. And queen takes g2 now. All right, f6. I sort of like f6, this. But queen takes g2 felt right. Because what's white's move here, Danya?
Well, if he can go f3 now, and he can basically claim that after f takes e5, white there's a silver lining to this because the e file is closed, and he does that. Bishop e3. Just don't go rook d1 or anything because ef is check.
Important.
But now e4 has to be mode with f4. I would imagine white has to keep that file closed at all costs.
Can you just play king takes c7 and just get rid of that pawn that's there?
Yeah, thug life, just get rid of it. Yeah. Grishuk would certainly make the move. King has to take the pawn and black is fine here. Yeah, I mean, somehow, again, it's starting to peter out a little bit. So after king c7, what's the count? Black's up a pawn.
Yep.
Yeah, but then white goes king f2, rook d1, and maybe the tables turn slightly in terms of the king safety.
Well, I want to take this pawn, move my queen out the way, and play d5. And I'm getting extra aggressive, but I don't think the white king will ever be truly safe. So it's a mixed bag, of course. Black's king is in the open. But I don't know what else you do here as, well, e4, there's just f4. Right?
Yeah, e4, f4. I mean, that's an absolute must. And
actually, maybe e4. Oh, he went rook f8. I was saying maybe e4, f4, queen to d3.
I was thinking, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
And that way we trade queens. Might take with the e pawn, your bishop's pin. I just take your pawn c7. I'm in a harmless endgame where black is up a pawn.
Yeah, Teddy might have some devious ideas of rook takes f3 here, but even rook d1, I feel like Danny's a little bit faster here in terms of guaranteeing king safety. But still, it's very complicated.
Yeah, rook d1, queen b5, threatening queen e2 mate. Don't overlook that. But as you were going to go, king f2, there's queen e2 check could land on the board, and it might not even be the end of the world for white.
King g3, yeah, somehow white is still alive. And again, we cannot sleep on black's king, because if Teddy does not take on c7, it's very easy to get too involved in trying to mate white and forget that your own king is very close to being checkmated on a square like b8.
Uh-oh. I was listening to what you had to say, checkmating on b8, but all of a sudden I see in the chat from Teddy's better half, and I know exactly who that is, and I was told more roasting. Do I do that? I don't know. I feel like right now I got to focus on the chess. Maybe in a little bit I can make fun of Teddy some more. Laura, forgive me. Still be a fan of mine.
And we need some embarrassing stories at some point.
Yeah, you'll get plenty of those,
especially with Teddy's better half in the chat.
Yes, and it's more like better 3/4, and Teddy makes up a quarter of that. But king f2. How do we get to e4? I mean, I like the way that this is going for black.
That rook on f8, that was clairvoyant of putting it there.
Yep. And queen b5. Queen h5?
H5. Ooh, rook takes f3 again becomes...
And h4 is hanging. Oh. Oof.
Danny's got to make something happen in terms of counterplayer. He's going to get smoked there on the king side.
Yeah, just queen h5. And very importantly, the pawn a5 is defended all the way from across the board, right? Look at this 5th rank, completely under black's control. That is not a pawn you want to take. Oh, d7's hanging with... Don't blunder d7.
Yeah, with mate.
But rook takes f3 check. Is he going to go king g1? He's going to ignore.
He is. Then rook f7, worst comes to worst. But even there, Robert, queen d4, and what we mentioned about white's king safety, then queen b6 becomes a threat.
Right. You're just trying to get the queen into the queen side with mating ideas.
I'm not, inspired. Okay, he does take on f3.
Yep.
Now king g1 is important. Otherwise, black takes e3 with check, and that just looks horrible.
Yeah, you're just getting, at the very least, okay, he goes back. So rook f7 using queen d4.
Yeah, I think that's a must. Rook g8. Oh, and rook takes g2. Becomes a threat.
Who's attacking whom first?
They're both attacking, but no, I think that's a great move, Robert, because rook g8, queen a7, rook takes g2. That's got to be mating, right? I mean, so many checks there.
And queen d4 played. Rook g8 played very quickly by Teddy.
Wow, Teddy is on his, he is on his game here.
It really does seem like he's on form, because Teddy sometimes hesitates too much. I've played chess with him for so many years, and he just spends too much time in moments where he should be a little bit more certain. But queen a7 now is a deadly threat.
I love that move, bishop g5. That's not a desperation move. He's just plugging things on the king side and preparing queen a7. How does black deal with that? He's got 20 seconds, less than 20 seconds.
Maybe king takes c7. It doesn't look good there. He plays
Gotta bite the bullet, though. I agree.
Queen a7 check, bishop b7. Just block.
Oh, and then rook takes. Is there rook to... No.
The rook covers d7, thankfully. Otherwise, black was toast.
I thought bishop f4 there, but it didn't work.
Okay, so who's better and why? 4 pawns. Black's king looks weak at the moment because the queen is already infiltrating over there. But one move like h6 comes in and the bishop's pinned. So e3?
Wow. Obviously cannot take the queen spin. Now you can try to take, but there's queen f3.
Queen f3. Oh,
then bishop back to g5. C5?
Okay.
No. C5 maybe.
Queen g6 was played. Okay, going for
now queen g, at the very least queen g5. But now h6. I have no idea what's going on here.
h6 looked good. That bishop was pinned.
Yep.
And queen anywhere. Queen e2 maybe. Okay, queen takes b3. That's a greedy move, but probably just a good one.
That is yeah. Now queen e5 centralizing the queen.
Queen e6, the very safe move if you're trying to trade queens.
No, he's not.
h6 I'd play. What?
Whoa.
What
was that?
That was not a good decision by Teddy.
Although it's not over yet. Queen e3. Queen e3. It's
queen e3. Oh, no.
God. Oh my God.
There might be a draw here somewhere, but
there might be perpetual.
Yep. Queen b4. Queen a5.
There's perpetual. Oh my goodness.
No, bishop c8. King b8. Bishop c8.
He's got to go bishop. He's got to try it.
Oh my gosh.
Robert, he was escaping, right? Bishop c8.
Oh my gosh. We'll pull up an analysis board there, but it looked like the black king should have escaped.
He has to try. He has nothing to lose.
Yeah. they will start their next match. We will pull it up on
And he gives
the
the thumbs down.
here. And here we go. So the next game is up. We'll have the analysis going. Let us see that final position after queen a5 check, king b8, queen d8, bishop to c8. There are 2 checks in the position, d6 and b6. You can see after queen d6 check, king to a8, there are no more checks. The queen on c1 covers the c6 square. And after queen b6, king a8, king a8, queen a5, king b7, it looks like the king is going on a walk on the wild side, and eventually he'll come to the king side. So as Danny Rensch would say, Lou Reed, eat your heart out and run that king over there. Woo! Back to the chess.
What a scramble. That bullet section, Robert, that is going to be something to watch. Okay, so we have another English. d4. What about knight takes and bishop f6 now?
Okay, so queen d4, bishop f6. I think that looks very good for black. And if you have to, can you knight takes d5 here to start?
Yeah, probably you should. Otherwise, white's actually concretely in some tactical trouble.
Right.
I think white's losing after queen d4, almost losing after. Okay, he does do it.
Queen takes d4, trade queens, and black is very happy about what's happened here. Now the pawn on b3 is under attack, bishop c4, but this is not what you want from the white side of this opening.
Definitely not.
I mean, no problems whatsoever for black. Danny has exited the opening stage and entered this 2 rooks and minor piece middle game with an advantage, I would say. And if you're Teddy, you're going to go king e2, bring your rook h to d1, or depending if there's a capture on c4, maybe bring a rook to b1. But I mean, black has to be thrilled, honestly.
Absolutely. He's gotten everything he wants out of the opening. Yeah, I mean, there's just no risk, and it's still early enough in the match where Danny doesn't have to worry about going crazy with the black pieces. What is the decision he's trying to make here?
About whether or not to capture on c4.
So he does decide. I feel like it's kind of the natural choice. I like rook a6, swinging it to b6, or swinging to c6, that is, targeting that weak pawn on c4.
I liked rook b1 just to keep the rook honest for a second, but he instead allows the rook c6. And then black can play b6 with the rook getting trapped over there on a6. So the rook has entered a more active position. Bishop c5 is something to keep in mind for black as well. Maybe you trade bishops, and that makes pawns easier to attack. He starts with b6. And I'm considering c5 at some moment for white, just giving that pawn up. You say, here, take it, but now I've cracked your pawn structure on the queen side.
I like it. I like it. That's a very classical h5.
Rook b1, rook b5 for white now?
Yeah, I feel like they're both kind of or Danny's definitely unconcerned about the queen side, but it could backfire on him. I like this rook b1, rook b5, c5 idea. Yeah,
actually, this pawn on h4 is maybe more of a weakness than a strength, because if the rooks get traded, the white king is actually very close to attacking it. So rook a to b1, black will probably play bishop to b4 to cut that rook off, and that's quite frustrating, frankly.
Well, yeah, so definitely.
How do you make some progress here? Rook c2?
He's trying to double, right? Well, even if he does double, black does have bishop a3 to chase that rook away from c1.
Right.
I'm smelling some drawish undertones here, although
c5's trying to happen.
For some reason, I'm sensing a repetition might happen here. Bishop a3, rook b1. What do you think? Or should who is playing for a win here at this point?
If I were black, I would play for the advantage. I'd play bishop c5 just to stop white from playing c5, and then bring my second rook into the game. And the pawn on g2 can only be a potential weakness with rooks on the board. The pawn on c4, here it's well protected. Rook g6, all right. I mean, I get it. You're going after g2.
Fundamentally different approach. Does he want to play c5? But then that leaves that bishop on b4 stranded.
Yeah, I'd play king f3 here.
Definitely. Centralizing the king as well as defending the pawn. Somehow we had this one endgame, Robert, where you beat me in Berkeley one day. I played Teddy that tournament too.
Okay.
You exploited some of my weak squares. For some reason, this endgame reminded me of that. Did we play basketball that tournament too?
We did. I didn't want to bring up some of the unhappy memories in your life, like our game from that tournament, but you brought it up, not me.
Well, our basketball game was a pretty happy memory.
Yeah,
I became an IM that tournament, actually, so you brought my average rating up, so, you know.
So in other words, I was at the tournament where both you and Teddy Coleman became IMs. I'm the IM.
He became an IM as well. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm
not at that tournament. He didn't become an IM at that tournament, but I was at the event where he became an international master.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're a good luck charm to IMs, which is maybe why you're commentating this tournament.
I have to be here. So rook to b8. What about the G2 pawn now can be protected with king f1.
Right.
Isn't white the one who's going to be better here?
Yeah, I mean, king f1, and if black tries, yeah, black's got some problems here. For example, king f1, rook f6, that bishop can go to d4, and
Yep.
then
Or
c7 is hanging.
Yep.
And I'm not sure the double rook end game is easy to defend all of a sudden, right?
No, that pawn h4 is actually a real weakness. It's gone too far, and it's on a dark square.
I feel like he did it because it looks good. Ooh, he's
Wait.
giving it up.
Why?
I have no idea.
What?
That beats me. Rook takes g2. What's wrong with that? I mean, he takes c7, obviously, but what's the hurry?
Bishop d6. Okay. So you could have played king f1. The bishop would never have been able to get back to d6. Put the darn king on f1 or f3. I don't even care.
There we go.
There it is. Okay. I didn't care.
What if rook b4?
Rook b4. What's your next move? He played it. To take
I just wanted to play like Danny Rensch. I didn't have any other thoughts.
That sounds like a great player to play like.
Yeah, that was on my list, and now I crossed it off. Make a move that Danny Rensch would make.
Oh my gosh, I see one of the ultimate Danny Rensch type of some jokes by Sprachy. Rensch looks like Ben Affleck Batman. That is such a Danny Rensch type of comment.
You see, we just saw Teddy bite into something very vigorously. I wonder what that is. That might be that avocado toast we've been talking about.
You know, Teddy often calls me when he's cooking or baking, so it's a shame that I have the call on his game and he can't pick up the phone, talk, and I just keep him company virtually when he does that. But I don't know. I'll have to ask Teddy's better half. Teddy's better half. If you're still in the chat, what is Teddy eating? Let's get some news.
Yeah, we need some. We need the inside scoop.
Uh-oh,
it is very, very important for the course of this match. They're repeating moves. And I think neither of them is necessarily against repetition at this point. What did I tell you? I smelled a repetition.
You did. You just smelled a different one, and you're fortunate that it ended in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So king f3 and Drozovic.
Smells about as good as Teddy's cookies. I don't know if he bakes cookies.
Probably shakshuka is the answer.
Shakshuka. Wow. That's wow. That shakshuka is good.
Yeah.
It's an Israeli dish, I think, or Middle Eastern dish.
And
a lot of protein.
h4, a5. We're seeing this again. It's so funny when somebody plays h4 on move 8 and you were on a5 all the way on the other side of the board. Like, these moves seem to have no relevance.
Right. You're like, I'm going h4 here. I'm going a5 there.
Exactly. You're looking at it as if like two amateurs were playing, and these are not amateurs. These are both international masters. And bishop g5. Here comes queen to e6. Yep. Slide that queen up. The bishop now has access to many squares on the diagonal.
Or two players who are extremely tilted. h4, a5.
Yes. I don't think either of these players are tilted. They have no reason to be, but it's always possible. Bishop a6 coming after this pawn on c4. And if ever b3, black has a4 type ideas.
Yep. Castles. Now we have a different, I actually honestly don't remember what first line they played in the Scotch, their first game in the Scotch, but this is obviously different.
Right. And bishop b4 comes to mind just to try to take this knight on d2 and win the c4 pawn.
Yeah, it's such a hard structure to understand what's going on. Such an unconventional type of position. But yeah, if he goes bishop b4, b3 is basically harakiri due to a4.
Yep. So what other moves is Teddy thinking about here besides bishop b4?
Maybe he's thinking about a shakshuka.
I was about to say a4 right away, and there it goes.
Preemptively going a4. Yep. Yeah, that c4 pawn's in some trouble. Rook h3. I've seen this idea before in the Scotch show. Well, what does he want against bishop b4?
Don't know, because bishop b4 still looks good. And h6, so bishop f4, maybe?
Maybe, yeah, not to disrupt the, the path of the rook. But again, bishop f4, bishop b4, bishop b3, he decides.
I'm still looking at bishop b4.
Me too.
I can't quite figure out. Maybe now there's rook g3 because the rook has lifted, and rook to g3 puts pressure on g7.
Yep.
So
bishop b4, and he will find out. Rook g3, though, I can play maybe king f8. I suppose that's obviously no, but that's a concession. Then that king could get in some trouble.
I'm telling you right now, king f8 is not a Teddy Coleman type of move. So that will not happen.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yes. And the e5 pawn is under attack, by the way. At
Yeah,
some
it
moment,
is.
you
It
can
is.
capture that.
Because black can still castle. He hasn't moved his king. Wow. Very concrete decision to take on d6. Very positionally risky, but now that knight has access to the d6 square. But
Yep.
what if black, let's say, just castles?
What if black plays queen takes e5 and there's knight d6 check, and then bishop d6, rook e3? Okay, I answered my
Wow.
own
That's a
question.
nice line. That's a nice line.
Yeah, there's a pin at the end. That's not fun. So sorry, what move did you say before I really?
I thought maybe
interrupted you?
maybe short castle.
Castling kingside.
Yeah.
And I don't have any kind of knight f6 check ideas, even though I want to make that happen. And you are threatening to win this e5 pawn. The king on c1 doesn't really look so safe. The king on g8 does look safer to me. I like it. I would castle kingside.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely won the opening battle here, but it's probably still objectively unclear.
Yeah. And what other moves? Can he castle queenside? Then there might be some problems. They're weak squares around your king.
Potentially knight d6 check, but he actually can, and maybe tuck the king on b8. I don't see anything wrong with. Is that a Teddy Coleman move?
Castle queenside? No, it's not. But maybe he's surprising. Maybe he's shown growth in during this quarantine season, and he castle kingside. Knew it.
Growth.
Knew that was coming. Just it's much more Teddy. And the e5 pawn, as mentioned, is a vulnerable one.
Yeah, now it's a threat.
And for Danny, his queen's a little stuck because the pawn c4 will be captured if you just move your queen anywhere, honestly, except for c2.
Right. I was thinking about, as you pointed out, knight f6 check ideas. I was thinking about preparing them with queen h5, but the issue is after knight f6 check, black always has the move king h8, and that pawn shell is incredibly difficult to crack. As often happens in the Scotch, we've seen this before, both kings are relatively unsafe. So neither side neither side has like a blank check to just go right after the opponent's king.
Right. And bishop e7, that's always a great defensive piece.
Yep, look at that incredibly solid bishop.
f4, some kind of f4, g4, that feels like the type of thing that Danny needs, or rook h to d3 at the right moment. Of course, not now with the c4 pawn hanging, but getting that rook actually activated, not just sitting on the h3 square.
Yeah, I agree. He's put it on h3. He's got to employ it. Well, for Teddy, how does he go about breaking up and starting the attack? Is it a move like b5 maybe in order to play c5, b4? Doesn't look entirely convincing, but he doesn't have forever because Danny's getting the wheels turning on the king side.
That's true. And there are oftentimes moves like d5 for black, but not here because d5, you don't take with a c pawn and then lose your queen. And I understand it's a queen trade, but a rook on d1 is hanging at the end there. So after d5, you take en passant, and after e takes d6, now white simply has stolen the pawn. But those are very common tactical ideas in these Scotch positions. And let's see, what can black do here? f6. I was thinking f5. He chose f6.
Yeah, and you often hear this advice, don't move pawns in front of your king, but obviously this is an exception. He's trying to kind of give him a little bit more air to breathe. I really like g4. It's a very kind of classical move, intending to meet f takes c5 with f5.
Right, but f5 is the problem.
f5 here for black.
I like your idea.
Great point.
That's a very Berlin type of idea, right? Giving the e5 pawn and then playing f5. But now black can play f5, trying to open the f file and get after this f4 pawn.
Right, exactly. And he's got that blockade going. Now, maybe f5, takes f5, and white tries to get a bishop to h3. So whatever you take on f5 with, I go rook f3 and bishop h3. Is that something?
Looks like something to me.
Yeah, it's completely irrational position. I mean, I have no idea what the objective assessment is, but it all depends on whether black can kind of hold it together on the king side and in the center.
And actually, your idea is so strong that I think that white is probably just doing very well. Rook f3, bishop h3, and it's such a strong threat because the d7 pawn will be falling. Even if I don't take that pawn, f5 for white. Yeah, that was a really good idea, Danya.
Well, thank you. I mean, it was so good. Even Danny heard me and played it. Yeah, bishop h3. Oh, this looks. By the way, this looks terrible. Bishop h3, queen h5, and you don't even need to take on d7. You can go queen g2.
But maybe there's queen f7 instead of queen h5. Okay, you went queen h5. I thought I would go after the c4 pawn. Yeah,
that was probably the best practical try because now white's spoiled for rook d7. I thought maybe rook f4. Exactly. Although I'm sure there's something even there, but there's no need to allow that. Just go queen g2.
Yep, swing the queen to hit g7. D7 is falling. Seems like pretty much regardless. Queen g2 played. What about bishop g5 here?
Interesting. Bishop g5, but there's maybe bishop g4.
Nice find. I was gonna go rook takes f4, but well,
Well,
yeah,
there's bishop h5, and then I can be boring and take your bishop.
Yep. So you end up a piece at the end of all this for a couple pawns, but not enough pawns. So
Teddy's got to find something like that, though. Otherwise, he's just going to get blown off the board.
Right.
Maybe bishop c4, covering the f7 square one more time in order to meet rook takes d7 with rook f7. But all of this is crap, I think.
It does not look good. And even just bishop g4 for white followed by f5. So if you don't take on d7 right away, it still feels like white has the upper hand.
Definitely.
So
yeah, and look at the time too. It's doing him no favors. He listens to you. I can see that Hess Coleman connection.
Yes, and it's probably should be a disconnection soon because that doesn't look like it's a very good move. Bishop g4, as you said there, is played. And now you could take on g5 next because the bishop and the queen protect the rook on f3.
Right. And here rook takes f4. I mean, it's not entirely over. I actually like what Teddy did here. Rook f4, queen e5.
Oh, yeah, it's way better than I thought. You get how many pawns? 3 pawns for the piece?
3 pawns. And the problem is more that I was worried about the king safety, but the more I look at this, the more I kind of realize that pawn on g7 is protected by the queen. So I don't think black's king is in imminent danger.
And if that c4 pawn falls, the white king starts getting in danger. So I think a very good practical try by Teddy. But Danny has to have something here. This is the moment where you spend, you're up 30 seconds on the clock. Spend another 15 seconds, find something concrete. And what are we looking at? Rook takes d7 is one of those moves. Let's see what else comes to mind.
But then bishop takes c4.
Yeah, I don't want to give up this. But having a rook on the 7th rank does look very threatening on the g7 square.
Maybe just bishop b2. I know it looks boring, but just bring everything back, consolidate, and then slowly he takes with the bishop.
Oh, okay. And just knight c3.
But bishop b3.
Exactly what I was thinking, because the king is getting stuck on the 1st rank, and there's queen e3 checks, and that king is in some trouble here. Actually, it seemed like Danny was making very logical moves, but all of a sudden he's got less time now, and the back rank problems are going to start haunting him because that bishop on b3 can combine with a queen on f1. I thought he blundered mate for a second. He does have to defend his
oh my god.
Bishop. Oh my god, he saw it so quickly too. A check take. Bishop d5 now. Okay, it goes queen to d4, but bishop d5 pinned that knight to the queen, and g7 is covered. So
this guy is so sharp.
Man, bishop c2 is nice.
Oh my gosh! And now the rook is hanging too.
The rook is hanging. The knight is hanging.
This is lost. He's got to play rook e1. Then you just take the knight. You're up a million pawns.
Bishop takes e4, and there's always rook f1 check.
Exactly. Oh, and now just take it. Yeah, this is over. This is rook f6, and you don't even have to give up a single pawn.
Wow, that was amazing defensive resourcefulness by Teddy. And I thought that Danny was going to just roll him over. But then Teddy had a bunch of pawns for the piece, and it became very complicated. And Teddy Coleman off to a blazing hot start at the beginning of the 5-minute portion.
Indeed. And we were talking about how he's got to be practical. He's got to find a practical chance. And that's exactly what he found. A move that looked like it was refutable, but all of a sudden he emerged with huge compensation. And then that queen d3, queen e3. I can't get over how fast he found not only that, but the fact that he takes the bishop and protects g7. That speaks to sharp tactical form. I'm sure he was doing his tactics before the match. And he repeats the line that you love so very much, Robert, knight f4.
He's played c4, then d4, then c4 again, then d4. So he's clearly going back and forth between those two first moves. And I wonder what his strategy is. We'll talk to him after the match to figure that out. But he seems to like this position. And he has the pawn c4 defended for now, the knight on f4 and the knight on c3, make it with the bishop on f3, make d5 impossible for black. And that's the good news, because when you have this kind of structure for black and you're a bit cramped, you want to look for a pawn break of some sort. You're not getting it just yet. So rook to b8 will have to be played b6, bishop to b7, things like that.
Right. Hedgehog style. Rook e8, of course, buttressing that pawn on e6. I know what you mean. When I look at that knight on f4, I still get kind of a weird sense from it because e5 always comes with tempo potentially. But if he makes it work, then white's got the space advantage. White's got sort of the positional edge here.
Yes. Rook b8 played quite quickly by Danny. b6. I like the way Danny's playing this. He's conserving his time for the more critical moments. I mean, last game, He was up on the clock, so we've seen that a few times now, but he just wasn't able to make it work. And this b5 idea that Teddy keeps playing, I'm interested in it. Bishop c6 and then d5. Can I just lock that bishop in there?
That's a splinter in Black's throat right there. He had a knight on c6 in the game that featured this line before. Now he's got a bishop. G6, but of course Danny's very, very solid here. It's just, it's hard to play, especially white has an eventual idea of pushing c5 through. I was skeptical as well, Robert, but the more I look at this knight f4 line and how it's working out, maybe Danny's doing something wrong, but it's turning out well for Teddy.
I do think it's got this sort of double-edged nature to it, because if white isn't able to somehow crash through, then black has this 4-on-3 majority from the E through H files. Very Sicilian-like position. White has lost the E pawn, black has lost this C pawn. Wait, but I guess the E takes D5 at some point. So it's not quite pure Sicilian-like, but if there was some capture on D5, so there's an extra minor piece on the board, let's put it that way. And knight H5, he wants to get F5, he needs some semblance of counterplay, but even if you get an F5, white will have the G5 square for the bishop. So I don't know. G4 here for Teddy.
Although knight F4 maybe.
Yep.
But even there, you can move the queen. It's actually not the end of the world.
I would just take on F4 maybe. E takes queen D2.
Interesting. Very concrete. Yeah, black is so passive that he might not be able to take advantage of the positional advantages. Teddy decides on queen D2. Very practical. Now, my question is, what does he want to do? Because F5, bishop G7, what is Danny's flop even going to be, even if he gets all of that in, is the question.
I don't have an answer for you.
You must. Or it is crucial that you tell me what the follow-up is going to be.
I like planting the bishop on G5 for white, because black can't play H6 with the queen and bishop lined up on that square. And he has played bishop to G7. How does what G4? I was going to say, how does white make progress? That feels like a pretty good way to do so.
It does. Knight F6 is a sad necessity. He can even support that with H3. He does. I feel like Danny's got to play E4. He's got to try. He's just going to run out of air here. He goes knight C5. But now that gives white a beautiful D pawn that's passed, or a B pawn rather.
Right. So you take with the B pawn, because otherwise D6 forks the queen, the rook, and 94. I mean, Teddy is suffocating Danny here.
He completely. Look at this positional. Look at this position. Look at that bishop.
These pawns here. And that's, I guess, the try that
take it.
Danny has to make. Bishop G5 also will win an exchange, but I would not play that just yet. I like your idea to just take on H5.
I mean, that's just so much in white's advantage, because black cannot physically bring all of his pieces to the king side. Queen G2 also perfectly fine, maintaining the structure. White is in no hurry. Black is literally completely out of counterplay here.
And normally when there's an opponent's piece so far lodged in your position, you would think about bishop d7 takes c6, and then just d takes c6, not giving up an open file. And if I take with the d pawn on c6, white has the open file to hit an eyesore on d6.
This is hard to look at. I mean, you can double on the f file, on the h file, both. I mean, it's very hard not to find a winning plan here for white.
And you can play king f2, king e2, king d2, king c3. Just bring your king over to the queen side. In sort of those old school Zurich 1953 type games, I feel like we saw that more frequently than we do in today's chess. But I always was a fan of that. Just having such a crushing type of position, and then maneuvering your king to the other side where it's safer, and then blasting open the side of the board that your king initially started on.
Exactly. I like the reference to Zurich 1953 candidates tournament. I can sort of Petrosian did that plan, probably accomplished that plan 5 or 6 times in his career. And yet every time I try to do that, my king doesn't get very far. It just gets checkmated about 2 squares in. But this is a great example of when he can basically get away with anything he wants. But he's getting down to business, G5. Because black has no pieces on the king side, white's king can come along for the ride.
Yep. And a big problem for black is now the bishop on b7 is hanging in many variations. You may say, Robert, what are you talking about? The bishop's not under attack. Just as an example, rook f8, rook f1, rook f7, gf6. Take a lot on f6. We trade all the rooks. Bishop 6, queen takes g6 with check. Maybe you would get a queen g7 and trade queens in some lines, but there's a bishop hanging, not to mention a passed pawn that will just be chugging along there and becoming a queen. So
I like what Danny's doing. He's got to try this again. You have no choice but to exhaust all of the counterplay, but this is just, there's just nothing here.
Yeah, because you can't take on c6. Bishop c8 now is the only move to fight on. Rook f4, just win this e-pawn. Rook f6 you can even play, because the rook is incapable of being captured. As g takes f6 comes the check on this black king.
Yeah, this is just horrific. And is this the last game? They might get one more game in. So
I think we'll
3.5
definitely
minutes.
get one more. I mean, unless this game goes for another 3.5 minutes, as you were saying, which it doesn't really look like it at first glance, then this should be the last game. Rook 8. Ooh, okay. Rook H4.
Yeah, H4, but now that he follows, so Bishop G7.
Then just Bishop F2, maybe.
Yeah, the problem is no targets, and that B pawn can start going at any moment. All the trades are in White's favor. Too many restrictions on Black's position here.
Okay, maybe this was a good effort because the queen on H7, it can go to H4, or you can move the bishop out the way and get to B1. But Teddy, of course, is just
here
throwing
comes
the
that B
pawn
pawn.
down.
Maybe Bishop E4.
Yeah, then B7.
Oh man, you promote that's a
You
filthy
take
move.
my queen, I get a queen. You go up, I give you a check. Then I trade queens on H7. Then I take your bishop, and I'll have a full piece in the endgame.
Yep. B7.
So bishop H3.
Oh,
Now-
bishop B7, queen B1.
Yes. Now there's
what a
queen B1.
devious guy. Queen where? Oh, I thought you meant for what? Wait a minute. Oh,
G6.
G6. Queen
Only
H5.
move. Queen H5.
Wait a minute.
Oh my gosh.
Did we do some commentator jinxing here?
We must have, because I don't see a way for Teddy to win this anymore. In fact, his king is the one who's in trouble.
He might get checkmated. For example, Queen F3, Queen B1, and Queen F1. Robert,
Okay, so-
that were very prescient words. Maybe he should have brought his king to the other side.
I was warning that when you break open the side of the board your king is, your king should have already been to the other side of the board on the queen side. Now Queen H5. Queen H4, there might be some kind of bishop F2, I say with a question rather than an exclamation. Okay.
F2, yeah, so Queen F2, we established you can't do because Queen G4, E4, and then B1. There's so many targets on the first rank, and none of them are protected. That's the problem.
Yes. And
So
bishop F2, queen back to H6 and going for the C1 square.
Another square that the queen can access. Teddy might be lost here.
I don't think he's lost. There must be a way out, because at some point you can even push B7 if you don't allow that check on the first rank, of course. So bishop F2, queen H6, queen E4.
Yeah, queen E4 also guards G6, but then I give you a queen G5 check.
And now king H1.
Yeah, your skin, the hair on your chinny chin, but
I don't have hair on my chin anymore. It's all gone.
I mean, that would have been a good reference yesterday.
Or earlier today, because I actually had a full beard with my commentary with Vidit. I've had a long day, Danya.
I'll note that. I'll note that down. I'll take it easy on you the rest of the commentary. So that happened. He's decided on queen H5. Now queen E4 seems like it's forced, right? Because B7 again, there's queen D1 check, and that's just mate.
Yep. So queen E4 played. And
it actually might end up being their last game.
Yeah, I guess it will be, unless they end some of this one very soon. And I recognize that Teddy Coleman face. That is the Teddy.
What can you describe that, Teddy? What does that mean?
There simply must be something here for me, but I don't see it. That's what that face is. Wait, the queen's on D1. I thought the queen was on C1 was better, because now the queen on D1 has fewer.
Good point. No square on G4.
Right. The queen could have gone to G5. Now the G4 square is covered by this queen on E4. And B7
Black does have a tempo.
Yes.
Black has one tempo. What can he do with it? Maybe nothing.
Know.
How about bishop F5?
Bishop F5. Do I B7? No, that doesn't work. So bishop.
Then I take on E4, right?
Wait. Now I definitely go B7.
Definitely got to do it. I think Danny lost. By Danny's reaction, I feel like he got frustrated a little too early. I think he did have resources there.
Although he's check. Bishop F2. Oh, queen G3. Watch out. Bishop F2. Wait, but then king H1.
King H1. King H1.
Oh my gosh. I just stumbled into a winning position.
But this also wins, right? No more checks. And now white prepares the silverware because queen E8 check is coming. Actually, it's still amazingly queen E8, king G7. White's still got to be careful, but
yeah, you go queen E8, queen F7, queen H7, and then just keep checking that king.
He's got to try. Okay, bishop F1.
No, that loses the bishop.
Something like that.
That loses the bishop. Queen E8, queen F7, queen takes F1.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. I wouldn't even think about it.
Simple, practical, no more checks, and the game is over.
Check, take it. And there's the first check. There's a second check. And queen H7 is tempting, but just take the bishop. There it is.
Exactly. And this is over, red or over.
You know, maybe being a full-time software engineer at a startup has really helped Teddy in moments of, really difficult times, because he was always a very nervous player, and right now he's really impressing me with how he's handling this. Bishop e8 check, king takes e8, b8 equals queen. That would have been cool.
Oh, and king e7, bishop g5 was mate.
Yep.
He's giving a few checks to gain. Okay, careful not to repeat the position 3 times. Okay, bishop
Oh
e5
my
is...
gosh.
Oh,
take on d4?
Yeah, but then there's checks.
Take on
oh
d4
my
and
goodness.
get a queen. Just do
Just
it.
don't queen. Okay.
Oh my gosh, you almost lost some time there. King f1.
King f1. Now he starts running.
King e2.
Queen e4. Queen
e4. Oh wait, now the king's running away.
Yeah, there's just nothing. King c3 and it's over.
Somehow taking that pawn really scared me, but now king b2.
Yeah, there's often some. Ooh, queen b1 he had, but no, that's all winning. Queen b1. Oh, that's a desperation. He's trying to stalemate himself, and there we go.
Wow, that is our final game of the 5-minute portion. Danya, I mean, I think you're with me here. We've both been quite impressed with the level of play that we've seen from these two very worthy competitors. Danny Rensch is taking up the pieces rather than the microphone, and Teddy trying to mic drop on him. He's currently up 3 games. We will be back in just a few short minutes with the 3-minute portion of this IM Not a GM Speed Chess Championship match. Tonight, I talk about him. Tomorrow, I team up with him. Danny Rensch and I will take on the Spanish commentary team from Chess.com, Luis and Carlos. It will be fun, so you should tune back in then. And Danny has so much chess. I mean, Danya, do you think Wesley So is going to adopt Danny and the adopted Danny that will take place on Sunday?
Well, I said it last match, and I'm going to say it this match. I think he will. Now, everybody knows I love Danny, but Wesley is just such a strong player. But maybe Danny will prove me wrong. Depending on how he does in the 3 and the 1 minute portion of this match, I just might change my opinion. But for the time being, I think the answer is yes.
Okay, so you are a believer in Wesley. I'm not sure it's going to happen. I have faith in Danny. So you are going to get fired. That's fine by me. I'm going to keep my job commentating for Chess.com. But I think Danny has this under control. Even if right now the match isn't going his way in this Speed Chess Championship, I think he's going to take a breath. He's going to relax, and he's going to say, Wesley, come at me, big boy.
Well, we'll see. I'm not sure that bear outfit is too intimidating for Wesley, but, we'll see how it goes. But that's not the only thing Danny will be doing, is it?
No, he'll be firing you on the state of chess.com on April 28th. So it's going to be right after Title Tuesday. He'll talk about what's happening with the company and all the good things that the website is putting together.
Including my firing.
Well, that is the best thing that could happen. And while we were in the break, we did see Teddy receiving some avocado toast. Did we not?
I think we did. I think we did. I mean, that is the most San Francisco thing I have ever seen. And I'm qualified to say that because I'm from San Francisco.
And Teddy is from New York originally. He moved out to San Francisco a bunch of years ago to work there. And he is a software engineer. He's just a great guy. Danny, I don't think you really need introduction to him because he's the chief chess officer. He loves his made-up title for Chess.com. And he is looking to rebound in the 3 minute. And Danya, you're the coach of these players. What do you tell them?
Well, Teddy's doing great. He prepared. His openings are going well. He's reaching the type of positions he likes. I think he should stay with his openings. I think both of them should watch their clocks a little bit. And for Danny, it's not that he's playing badly. I think he's actually playing quite well. I think he's getting a little bit nervous in the time scrambles. I think several of those games have been very close and they've been decided in those time scrambles. So he's just got to focus on being calmer, maybe being a little bit faster in certain moments. Other than that, he's playing well the way he's playing. So
what do you think about the Scotch, though?
I don't know. He hasn't been getting great positions out of the Scotch, but I wonder if maybe Danny can change that opening specifically. But he seems to be principled about continuing to play it. So we'll see how this unfolds.
Yeah, he put his knight on c3 this time. We saw the knight on d2 many times. a5, a4, quickly trying to pry open the queen side, this pawn on b3. And I don't know, something about this feels fishy to me from the white side. I remember the game Wesley So versus Shakhriyar Mamedyarov, where Mamedyarov won a miniature on the black side of an opening in the Scotch like this, where he played a4 and opened things up. And the white king is not castled yet. Black is one move away from castling. And I have to give a couple shout outs because I saw during the break that Sam Shanklin said he's watching this. Shout out to you, Sam, one of the best players in the world, former U.S. champion, member of the U.S. national team for many years. And he liked that we mentioned his game against Onishuk, even though he lost that game against Onishuk from the white side of a Scotch in 2009 U.S. Championship. And I also want to give a shout out to my good friend Kevin Kirk, who texted me saying he's watching it, he's enjoying the commentary. So shout out to you, Kev. And now we're back to the chess here with the bishop on b4, pawn on c5. Danya, I mean, the king on e1 is stuck in the center.
Well, that's why, with full due respect to Danny, I never really played the Scotch. I never really believe that with the king being as unsafe as it is, that white's play is justified. And look at that bishop on a1. Now it's vulnerable. Bishop b2 can be met with maybe rook a2. The king has nowhere to run because that other bishop on b7 is controlling the long diagonal. That could lead to some queen infiltrations through c6 potentially. So I actually really don't like Danny's position. Am I missing anything?
No, I don't like it either. And the one thing that he kind of has going for him is the knight on b6 is useless. So if Danny is able to fend off the play that Teddy has down the queen side, g5 is, of course, a threat at some point, opening up an attack on the queen. But the knight on b6 doesn't really feel like a helpful piece. And if I'm Teddy, I'm looking at a queen h6 type of move because h4 is impossible to defend, except if you go h5. But h5 is not the type of move you want. And queen c6, I know it looks like a battery here, but instead just queen h1 is
Yep, he's just getting into h1. That bishop on a1 is really worrying me. Queen h1 is a direct threat, of course.
Yep.
Maybe Danny has to play f3. But then queen h6, Robert, your move, that's a fork.
It hits e3 with a tempo on the h4 pawn and can't protect both. So he's inducing a weakness, more vulnerable squares before likely retreating that queen back over to h6.
After this game, Danny might need a scotch. But I don't know if he's going to be playing any more scotches. This doesn't look good. And look at the time situation, too. All of it in Teddy's favor.
I'll have to gift him a nice Macallan after this match because
definitely
it seems like the scotch really isn't going well over the board. And I know full well from experiencing a match against the chess pros where our queen was trapped in the corner. King e2 played here. I mean, I'm breathing just because I don't like the look of this king on e2, but with the rook on e3, it's probably safe and sound for now.
I mean, I don't know. Well, first of all, okay, I was just looking at bishop takes c3 followed by rook a2. Maybe that doesn't quite have the punch that you want. That knight on b6, I agree. The fact that it's out of the game is a little bit annoying because that limits the pieces that are, of course, in the attack. But what exactly does black do here? King e2 was actually a very good move, I think.
I agree. I like queen h6 again. Just induce this pawn move h5. Now this bishop on h3 looks useless. I play queen f4 after that. You're gaining space. You're just clawing, slowly inching your way forward, and white is running out of moves.
F6, going for the direct approach.
And Ben Feingold would say,
never play f6.
Never play f6. I don't particularly love that, especially with the bishop on a1 staring down at the black king. I mean, what if I just take it on f6?
Something looks off about that move. Danny decides on 94. He allows rook a2 check. He's not scared of that.
I'm scared of it.
Yeah, I am too. But maybe king f1, and he just says, okay, then what?
I want to play queen takes e4 so bad. Not my pieces. Will feel free to sacrifice the queen.
Teddy's pieces. We love sacking Teddy's pieces.
Yeah, but this is going south for Teddy. This bishop on a1, you've opened it up. And with the pawn f7, there was no attack. With the pawn f6, all of a sudden e takes f6 is coming in the very near future, and the black king is the one feeling unsafe. And then knight on b6 is useless.
Exactly. So he has to bite the bullet. Otherwise, e takes f6 would have been devastating. But now just bishop takes e5, right? I mean, nothing to worry about in terms of that move. Of course, white is still very much in danger in many ways, but I agree. Things are starting to shift.
So that bishop doesn't really have good access. It has to go back to a1. I mean, black has so many of the squares under control. Wait, d takes e5? Then there's queen d8 check.
Queen d8 check.
Oof.
Danny.
That's not just a check, it's winning a queen on c6.
That's a very nice move. How do you read that face, Teddy? Is that the concerned Teddy Coleman face? The oh no, I've gone wrong face?
All of Teddy's looks are the concerned Teddy Coleman face.
Queen d7, calm.
Yep. And bishop c3, also calm. Teddy's moving very quickly.
He is. Rook a8.
Take g2.
Yeah. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah, the bishop's hanging. And then rook a8 probably.
Easy thing to forget about, though. The bishop has been just sitting there for so long that sometimes you just make a quick move and you blunder a piece. You're like, forgot about that one.
Right. All of a sudden saying another thing to mention is probably pawn endings are winning for white because of that ruined pawn structure. So Danny's got a lot of assets here, not to mention the fact that he's now the one attacking.
Yes, he is. And the knight on b6. I always say this, knights on b3, b6, g3, g6, they stay there too long. And this knight on b6 has been here pretty much all game since the opening, and it's useless. It is keeping the knight out of d5 for white, but it's a defensive passive piece. Finally, it comes back, but knight d5 here.
John Bartholomew's favorite move, knight d5.
Yep. And now the c7 pawn looks like it's going down.
Who is in the chat, by the way, so shout out to John, who has been roasting me, I have to say, in the chat, but won the first match, forced to be reckoned with in this tournament. So
knight
thanks,
g5,
John, for
96.
Oh, my. No. Okay, well, that also wins, but
it was not necessary.
Now king e5, and
yeah.
I feel like Danny got very excited that it was a tactic, but always switching up the move. You got to consider what happens if you switch up the move. Look at that knight on d8.
Is it trapped?
g5?
No,
Wait,
it's out.
He had g5 maybe.
Okay, the knight is stuck for the time being, and the king got to f5.
Danny's playing very quickly. I'm not sure king f6.
What is he doing? The knight is trapped, so you can't lose a tempo with that knight. What?
Whoa,
what?
Whoa, what?
What?
No,
Teddy!
What was that?
No, he allowed Danny the queen.
No, what was that?
G5 was just, and as soon as he played it, did he just not see king f6?
He thought it wasn't like, it wasn't like a pre-move or, a mouse slip sometimes. He thought for like 7 seconds and then played it.
I'm bringing the analysis board up.
No more avocado toast for Ted. I think
another
toast.
Another Danny Renchism. Back to the drawing board. Let's go back just a couple moves. G6, H6, F6, just king F6. Because if H7, your king gets to G7, you stop the pawn before it can promote, and then the king is in the box. So you always think about the box. The king is inside of it. I'm going to draw the box on my board here. That is the box. The king stops the pawn. Knight on B7 is trapped. Black can always play knight to D4 to hit after the B3 pawn, and I don't think black is really in any danger here. But instead, Teddy let that pawn promote.
And after such a comeback, too, 96 is winning the game.
What is this? What is Teddy got into this thing again where he allowed the capture on D4?
Well, he plays D5, which I think is a must. Otherwise, he just slides into a bad kind of position. But this doesn't look. This looks somewhat innocuous for Danny.
Yeah.
I mean, takes and rook D8. I understand what Teddy's claiming here, but black's got such nice open free development for his pieces. That pawn on B3 is very loose. Maybe forcing bishop C4. I just don't know why he's repeating this.
And castling queenside is so dangerous here. The bishop f5, threatening rook c8, as well as bishop g5 check and mating net. I mean, you would love to castle queenside, getting your rooks connected and protecting the bishop, but you get yourself in way too much trouble. There's rook to d1. Maybe he's saying bishop on c8 has to stay put for the time being because of b7.
Yep, so bishop g4, f3.
Bishop h4 check. Bishop h4 check. And if g3, rook takes d5. Just removing the guard of this.
Wow, that would have been very nice, very devious.
I have my moments.
Well, once in a while. Yes, I'll give you that.
So castling is meant by bishop c2, which is very annoying because after rook d2, bishop takes b3.
Bishop c2 now, though, how does Teddy Bishop c2 would have been very nasty. He would have had to play rook c1. Even now, bishop c2.
Yeah, but rook c1.
Rook c1 is the saving grace because rook d2, there's bishop takes b3. Still, this feels so loose for Teddy, but I guess he gets away with it. Maybe rook d6 also. Are there any mating ideas with rook g6 potentially?
Nah. Maybe, but nah. Bishop e5. Bishop e5.
Rook g6 and okay.
And then king f4, and I say, I am brave. I am bold and I am beautiful on f4.
True,
probably not good, but sometimes things have to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't want to go h4, I think, because then, well, Teddy says the exact things. In fact, he takes on b7, rook b8.
Bishop e5, bishop e5.
Rook g6 check, and then bishop f8 at the end. But f5 was hanging.
No, yeah, exactly. The f5 bishop was hanging.
Wow.
So, all right, but the f5 still hanging. This king has gone on a journey.
Oh, okay. Now you think the king is dangerous, right? Rook takes g2. First of all, rook takes g2 is at minimum, although I guess bishop e5. No, but there's mate with bishop c2. Rook takes g2, bishop e5, bishop c2, and g5.
What? Bishop e5, bishop c2, bishop takes b8?
Oh, there's e5 was freed up. Sorry,
free up my square.
So close.
Yet so far.
Yeah, no way, Jose. No way, Danny. Very funny.
And this is still looking suspicious with the king on f4, but white is up a pawn. The bishop on f5 is under attack. And you get the feeling there must be something here. And Danny now down 2 games. He was down 3. And on the in that last game, it was a tough opening that he outplayed Teddy from. And he just needs to hold on here. This is not a game he really can afford to lose.
Nope. That might send him into a pretty bad spiral. Or you're saying Teddy cannot afford to lose it.
No, Danny
can. Yeah, that makes sense because he loses it. He breaks the momentum he's just acquired. Teddy's got the cushion, but still, even if Teddy loses it, that's not very pleasant either. Here he was up 3 points. All of a sudden, it's been sliced down to 1. So pretty high stakes on this game, in terms of the psychology of the match.
So 50 seconds, counting down. Now Teddy has double the time on the clock, and with the extra pawn here, that looks worrisome. And bishop c2, you can go win this pawn back on b3, but there's so many back rank issues that black has.
I feel like there has to be some mating idea here. Something tells me rook e8. Wait, rook e8. And then if you take bishop e3 and rook g5. That might have been something. Danny lets the king. I'm not sure about that. Maybe he just wants to take on b3. Bishop e4. I
would just king f2 as well.
Right.
Bishop c5.
Why do you do that? that was his only chance, I think, keeping the king.
Take on a3. Oh, your bishop's hanging on c2. You can't even take on a3. I was like, wow, just take a pawn. Uh-oh.
Not looking good, Robert. And look at the time again. Over a minute extra.
Yep.
This is going to be a very tall order to
take on d4, play rook to b6. I think you have to.
You got it, yeah. Of course, you can't pin the bishop because if bishop takes f7, that's what he does.
Yeah, as you said, don't want to put a rook on the d file because the bishop has 7. And rook c1 now. And there's rook c7 coming with tempo on the f7 pawn.
Oh, God. Well, it's not over yet because, you know, if black wins the pawn on b4, that's a draw. But I have a hard time believing he's going to do that. So bishop g6, what do we do? What is can you get away with this? You take on b4, take on f7.
Yeah, rook b4, rook takes f7, excuse me, and the bishop's under attack and their discovery checks. That couldn't have been a good move. And Danny's in time trouble, so he's just trying to, liquidate. That's what he was looking for. Let's just trade off some pieces, but the f7 pawn hangs at the end of this.
Robert, I'm catching on to some of Teddy's faces. He did this lean-in thing. He's like, I don't believe this, but what am
Teddy
I missing?
Leans. You have to understand that there are different Teddyisms, okay? I'm going to embarrass him for a second, but one of them is the finger point where he's really concentrated and, he's focusing on his game, and just somebody finishes their game around him, he's friends with them, and as soon as he starts feeling confident about his position, he kind of, how'd you do? Like after the game is done, how'd you do? So right now, this is a win for Teddy. He won by resignation with 0.1 seconds left. So Danny just resigns instead of losing on the clock.
There's something aesthetically pleasing about resigning with 0.1.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's really impressive time management.
Yeah, that was pretty good timing in his resignation. I remember a story, has nothing to do with anything. Can I attempt to redeem myself on the story front?
Yes, you absolutely
can. They start
can.
their next game, and let's just see if there's another scotch. There is. Look at that guy. Danny just not backing down. So I played Boris Spassky in a simul years ago. This was, I think, 2004.
Yep.
And I played a terrible game. I wasn't focused. I was nervous. And he just crushed me in a Najdorf in 20 moves. And when I got up, of course, my dad was watching the game, and he said, you did one thing right in this game. You resigned at the right moment. And of course, that got me riled up. So I ended up winning the tournament. This was in Reno. But I don't know. That, again, has nothing to do with anything. But at least I warned you this was going to be a terrible story.
Yeah, but it actually was a pretty good story until you lost confidence in your story.
Yeah, I started undermining myself, assuming that people were glazing over already.
Yeah, the content was excellent. The delivery was very subpar.
Okay. Good to know. I'll improve the delivery next time.
And that's the opposite of a typical Danny Rensch story, in which case the delivery is excellent and the content is absolutely awful. You don't want to hear it.
That's funny. So another scotch and another somewhat different type of position. My eyes are glazing. All these scotches, I'm having a hard time keeping track of the small deviations. I don't know who's deviating. Is it?
I see what you did there. Talking about scotch and your eyes glazing over. I got you, Danya. I see where your head's at. Oh, Queen H7 mate. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Queen H7 mate. He castled right in checkmate.
My God, I'm just looking at Teddy's.
Speaking of scotch, and that was
my.
What?
Oh, look at. Oh my God.
Oh, that was the most visceral reaction. Just like, let's go back to the instant replay. I mean, we show his good moments.
I was just watching to see how Teddy would respond.
Bishop d3, lining the queen up, checkmate on h7, castles into it, queen takes h7. And black's position was totally fine before that move. I'm moving on. Teddy, love you, buddy. Don't want to harp on it too much, but I have to. It's my job. So wouldn't be fair if I didn't. And right now, we see the same position. We've seen as many 95?
95, creative. He wants to play d5. I think Danny just gained a whole lot of confidence there. He's going to go d5. He's going to go for the throat here out of the opening. I still can't believe that, though. I mean, that does happen, right? Where you just you lose your sense of danger temporarily because you feel like I've had this before a million times. But that must hurt.
I'm trying to come up with an excuse for it, and I'm somebody who blunders plenty in online blitz, so I'm not above this. But just the casting into the checkmate, that is one that you don't forget. Even if you end up winning this match by 10 points, you're like, yeah, remember that time I walked into checkmate for no reason? And I like Teddy's position in this game because the knight on d4 can go right into f5 right now. for instance. But yeah, it's hard to forget about that, and he's going to try. And
that's definitely in the back of his mind, though. How could I do that? That could have been another win.
Yep.
But he seems, he seems relatively. I'm just looking at him. It's, again, you're the Teddy Coleman face reader, so who am I to venture a guess at what he might be thinking right now?
Well, he probably was thinking in part, how much fun of me are Robert and Danya going to make?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking too.
I don't know why, but he cares about my opinions. So, that's something that nobody should, but he does.
Yeah, exactly.
Knight F5. Put this, as Ben Feingold would say, knife F5. Put that thing on F5, threaten G7, threaten Knight D5 stuff. The bishop opens up. Oh my gosh, you're inviting Knight F5.
You really are. I mean, does he actually want to take on E3 and go Queen E6? No way possible that can work for Black. Unless, first of all, Knight F5, Bishop E3, King H1,
right.
Queen E6. There's even some Knight takes G7 ideas. Teddy just secures the E3 pawn. I mean, maybe he's shaking a little bit. What about Bishop takes A3 here?
Oh, please take that.
Knight F5, Queen F8. You got to try, right? And then bring the bishop back to B4. I'm not sure about this Rook Fe1, Robert. On second thought, I think Knight F5 was much more
Bishop
effective.
A3. What if I just take on A3, Queen A3, Knight B5? Do
Queen
I have
C5?
Knight A4? Give me that C7 pawn, Danya. Give me C7.
But Knight DB5, I'm going to take on B3. How about them apples?
And then I'll take on C7.
Queen takes C3.
And then I'll take on A8. And my queen protects from F3.
Yes.
And B6 falls.
And there's no Knight takes F4.
And then my lonely heart breaks.
Knight H4. I was just thinking maybe Black has some freak chances there, but I guess not.
Yeah, I don't believe in it.
Well,
but I do believe in life after love.
Maybe Teddy would blunder the E1 rook there with checkmate.
I'm throwing in so many pop culture references in a row, and they're for you, and they're mainly for Danny. So I need you to throw in some back.
Throw in some pop. Okay, throw in some. Let me get a pen.
Oh, I like Bishop A1. That was a really smart move because Black's pieces are all tied down here on the queen side, and now Knight takes G7, Knight D5. Oh my gosh!
How about them apples was a pop culture reference, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Good Will Hunting. Be a little more original next time.
Okay. Be a little bit. Be a little. Let me get the pen out again. Be a little more original next time. Okay.
Okay. Woof. There it is. Knight D5.
Oh, Bishop B2.
Oh my gosh! I didn't even think about Rook B1. Right.
Rook B1 pins.
But Bishop B2 is one of those moves with if that pawn were on A4, for example.
Exactly.
Bishop B2 is the move that everybody misses in this kind of position. You're like, oh, I'm going for a P-sack, and then Bishop B2 is like, oh, that's it. Black's king is totally protected. But now the knight on D5 hits F6, but also C7 with a fork, and the rook on A8 will be hit twice because the F5, look at him go.
Look at this. I mean, the extra piece is not even felt. This is crushing.
Yeah.
I got to take my hat off to Teddy because as someone, as you know, I was thinking about changing my last name the other day to Tiltaditsky. As someone who tilts as much as I do, I always admire players, and I'm being serious here, who are able to, you know, they tilt a little, but then they calm down and they respond to a very painful loss with a very, very good game. And I don't want to say that Teddy's won yet. No commentators jinx here, but you know, he's playing incredibly well for someone who's just blundered as he did the last game.
Yep, for sure. And it is very hard to bounce back from. Even Lawrence Trent talked about this earlier today when he started with 5 straight wins, lost 3 in a row. It was a perfectly timed intermission before the 3-minute portion, but he was talking about how difficult it was for him to get out of his own head. And here's C6, but just knight takes E7. Yeah, knight takes E7 looks really strong.
I like the
because knight E7.
I want you to say that exactly. Can you say what you just said exactly in the way that you just said it?
I could never.
That's a pop culture reference, by the way.
I could never.
Let's see if anybody can dissect it in the chat.
F takes G6. Take that pony.
Yeah, and rook F1 and the other pony.
The bishop on A1 is the best piece I've ever seen.
Chess got it. It's a Wolf of Wall Street reference. Nice.
I didn't know you went full Jordan Belfort on me. I missed it. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was just a minor. Okay. Just bishop F6.
Or rook takes D7, whichever order.
Choice.
Rook D7 now. Yep. Rook G7 check coming. Rook G7, and that's it. Rook takes G6, and then queen takes F6 mate. Oh, that's not a good king. Queen f7 and queen d7 is check. Oh, queen f8 is mate in 1. It's so funny. I'm looking at queen f7 and then queen f8 comes on the board. Danya. Yep. That was a pretty impressive game, wasn't it?
That was an impressive game. And again, to repeat, quality-wise and confidence-wise, it's so easy, Robert, to lose confidence when you blunder like this.
Yep. Hey, I need to just state publicly so Teddy knows I won't be lying to him later. I'm extremely impressed with his opening flexibility. So Teddy, growing up, he very much stuck to his guns and like had this repertoire that he believed in and that he just played. He's played so many different openings in this match. C4, D4, he's playing a Caro-Kann now, and he's played E4, E5 earlier, right, against the Scotch. I guess after getting checkmated, you don't want to play the Scotch anymore, but his positions were fine out of the opening. In fact, I like the way he was playing.
He's versatile, yeah. I mean, he's and that always impressed me about Teddy. He's able to play a lot of different openings. Over the board, I've played him many times. Every time when I was white, he plays a different opening, and he got great positions out of the opening. So he has very sound fundamentals. Bishop f6, interesting. So he's not afraid to give that bishop up. I don't know about this though, Robert. Something, I can't put my finger on it, but I'm not loving the way he's playing this IQP.
Oh, I'm not either. I was about to say actually that
I gave him all this praise. I shouldn't have done that.
Well, I was going to praise him for the flexibility and then criticize him for playing the Caro-Kann because you know my true feelings with the Caro-Kann. It's a glorified French, and in this case, the bishop didn't even make its way out of the pawn chain. So the fact that it's kind of like a French and it's bishop on c8, and Teddy knows I hate the French. Teddy.
The French.
F6. Wait, play F6. And there goes some sirens.
Wait a minute, F6, knight C6.
Then F takes G5. You just have to do
so you
something.
want to change the position of maybe get a knight to F4. I mean, even there I play. Oh, I can't look. This is painful.
Yeah, this doesn't look good. I guess
the strategy backfired for Teddy.
It looks terrible, but maybe it's not quite as bad as you think because bishop h4, g5, bishop g3, bishop d7, put the bishop on c6, and the queen on g7 is actually a very good defensive piece, stopping the queen and bishop from getting another queen h7 checkmate. We've already seen one of those. Teddy's had enough. Rook takes d5 by Danny.
And bishop f6. I don't know if that's strictly necessary, but I understand. I mean, could he have just gone bishop h4? I guess he was afraid black would start winding his pieces out with bishop d7, rook c8. I understand. Now he wants to play rook c7.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I typically love exchange sacrifices. It's actually like my favorite thing to do in chess. And I have to commend Danny for the fun play. Oh gosh, I don't know about that move. Just take h5. Or this. I mean,
oh my God. I think that, Robert, the sirens, I kept trying to understand what the sirens were. They're the sirens taking away the king's body here, Black's.
Although the king is trying to make its way to e8.
But
it looks terrible.
E6 is going to be just crushing.
E6 right now. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know what Teddy did here, but everything about this game was wrong. Starting with move 1, Caro-Kann.
Yep, starting with move 1. Good. Well said. Well said, Robert.
Bishop f5. Just go back a few moves. What was bishop f5 there? Like, play h5 as black. Play bishop e6 and rook to c8. Just try to trade some pieces. Don't play bishop f5.
Well, as the most interesting man in the world once said, I don't always play openings, but when I do, I don't play the Caro-Kann.
Stay thirsty, my friends. Isn't that what you're supposed to add at the end?
My water bottle. Exactly. Stay thirsty, my friends.
Okay, just making sure. And I see some comments. It got dark at Teddy's place. Yeah, that's what happens when your king is on f8 in a position like this with queen a3, queen e7 checkmate happening.
Okay, he's just overwhelming. Danny's got to be a little bit precise. First of all, queen a3 and rook g7 wins the queen. And that's one thing that I just wanted to share. Sometimes when you're attacking, you don't want to get too fixated on checkmate. Sometimes your opponent cripples his position so much you can just win material. And that's exactly what he does. Kudos to Danny.
Yep. And now queen h8, sad move, rook takes f7, and that should lead to resignation. Although, if the rook f7, there's rook c1.
But okay, king h2, and okay, I think white completely winning. He tries e6. Uncle Sasha tries e6. I can't even do Danny's Uncle Sasha. It is one of a kind.
Queen f8?
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, Robert.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, but you're basically saying, well, what exactly does white do?
Yes, it's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
and he plays it.
Oh, wait, I can't believe this. Queen e3. Okay, how about just calm? Queen e3. Calm.
Queen
Cool,
e3 is calm, cool, collected. I was thinking some kind of rook e7 after queen e3. I know it looks ridiculous, but I'm just trying to survive.
What you got to do here? Of course. Rook e7. Rook.
Maybe queen g3, like just queen g3 at some point. Just
sneaky and go rook g8 and sign the darn score sheets.
But this is what we've seen in many matches thus far, including what Lawrence did when he blended a piece against Kostya Kavutskiy today. You just keep the game going for a while and coming up with just little challenges here and there. Eric Rosen proved to be a maestro of defense, and I don't know about that move.
Ooh, I don't know. E7, rook e7.
So still wait. No, e7, rook e7, bishop e7.
Queen e7, rook g8.
Yeah, and then
Stop
I win your rook
Robert.
and
You were no, but rook c1. Queen takes c1. Darn. 9.
Because e takes f7, king d7. It's like getting a little murky.
It is definitely.
e7. He found it.
And Danny has done a better job here of delivering once he's finishing off those attacks cleanly. I think, even though incredible resilience here by Teddy.
Yes, indeed. And rook takes e7, bishop e7, queen g7, bishop f6, check. Check to the king, check to the queen. Can't interpose, you lose your queen. And Teddy...
Yeah, he failed to DJ ward off the attack here.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Bring in the hand sanitizer. Okay.
Yeah, you better use more than just some hand sanitizer. You better wash that mouth out.
Full on fumigation after that pun.
Yeah, that was bad. Queen d6, okay.
Okay.
Wait, rook e1. Rook e1, rook h4, rook g4.
Oh my, no way.
No, rook
h4.
Winning. Rook g4.
Still winning. King f3, queen b8, but
no, I take g7.
Oh, he's gonna lose that time.
Teddy, what are you doing? Teddy, what are you? Go back. I'm gonna bring up the analysis board.
It's not that clear, amazingly.
I'm bringing up the analysis board.
Kill the commercial. Let's go.
Rook g4 check, king f3. Let's say rook takes g7, and now all of a sudden, I know the queen will go win some pawns, but you have 2 rooks for a queen, and that makes it difficult. So
and none of the rooks can be won by force unless I'm missing something. You can't fork either of the rooks.
I don't think you can. That's a missed opportunity. Actually, you can. Queen b8 check, and then I need to get my queen to c3.
King e7.
Queen c7 check.
Okay, king f8.
And then queen.
And I block with my rook.
You stopped me. Okay, now to the new game since you proved to be the better analyst there. Move on to the next game.
You know what they say.
Yeah, I had a primal scream there. That was...
Well, that was it. I mean, the thing is, and we've seen this a few times in this match, it's so painful to watch someone lose on time.
Yep.
And some of my most painful experience over the board chess, when you stand over someone and you see them just not paying attention to the clock and you are just eating yourself out inside.
Yep. And credit to Teddy for putting up stubborn resistance, and credit to Danny for not being flustered, because I know from personal experience that when I have a position that I'm like, I should have won 8 moves ago, I get mad at myself for not having already won the game. And that's when I'm not playing chess. I'm just getting subjective, kicking myself and not making the best move. So b3 by Teddy, playing against these double C pawns. Please take me on c4. You'll double isolated pawns here. Rook b8, not really an open file, but maybe trying to say, I will take you on c4 at some moment to make this rook look useful. And queen d7. What do you think about this position, Danya?
Another interesting pawn structure. I really, this match has kind of been defined by some very unconventional pawn structures. I play positions like this with black. I'm very biased in the sense that I like piece play over pawn structure. So I believe in black's position here. With that being said, white's king is safe. Bishop b2. Objectively, probably white has a slight edge. But as Kasparov would say in his masterclass commercial, you have to be creative. So, to make some sacrifices in terms of the pawn structure, and we'll see what this IM Rensch has to offer. Shout out to Gary, who I'm sure is pegged to the screen.
Yes, as he's getting ready to captain one of the in the FIDE Nations Cup. So, Bishop g4. What is Teddy going to do in response? Because Bishop takes a3 shatters white's kingside in the pawn structure there, and Bishop takes g4 allows Queen takes g4 an activity for that queen. Yeah,
very strong practical move. Also, a lot of time has to be spent to make these decisions. Queen e2 I like. Okay, he's bringing his queen into the king side. Bishop f3, queen f3. Danny can kind of chill out with queen e6 there, attack c4, h5.
Sorry, did you say
Danny
chill out? Yeah,
I
those
did.
don't go
That
together.
doesn't belong in the same paragraph.
No, it doesn't. Oh,
When you
bishop
speak
takes f3. D take. Oh, I almost blundered a queen. That's hilarious. I was like, oh, bishop f3. Now the bishop's on b2. I have d takes c4, but the queen is hanging on d7. The pawn is pinned. Bad job, Robert. 5 demerits for you.
Demerits.
And now what? Knight a4.
More demerits. H3. So he wants an endgame. I like that decision, you know, because bishop f3, queen f3. White does ruin his pawn structure on the king side, but the significance of black's hanging pawns, I think, rises in the endgame.
Right.
It's a very practical decision. Also, given the time situation, maybe d4. No, that's too much.
Yeah, I'll just take it, I think, and live to tell the tale. And c5, there's knight a4 type stuff usually, but then c4 for black. Ooh, that's an annoying move. It's a good way to start this because now c4, when you can play it, doesn't have a bishop hanging on the b2 square. So he gets his bishop out the way. I still think black is totally fine here.
I should be, but he can't be too cavalier here. And I like d4.
So just knight move somewhere, knight a4?
Yes, and then maybe d takes e3, opening the d file. You play fe3. This should fizzle out into a draw.
I'm worried about that pawn on c5, Danya.
But I still feel like after d, e, fe, let's say you go knight d5, but then you play king f2.
Right. So
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, if black loses the pawn, he's definitely going to slide into very difficult position.
And if the way to not lose the pawn is like some kind of knight b4, bishop b4, c takes b4, the knight, even though it looks bad on the rim of the board, it can go to a light square where the bishop can't attack it, and white should claim an advantage in the end games. Okay, knight d5. So bishop takes c.
So bishop c5, bishop c5. Bishop c5, rook c5.
Yep, that's my exact plan, and you can't take me on e3 because
therefore he takes here for something doesn't sit right with me there in that move. Okay, this is good and practical. Again, pawn up, and it's not compensated by the king side pawn structure.
He should have taken a7.
Robert, I underestimated that pressure on the pawn.
He should have taken a7 instead of e3, I think.
And then return to f2 in case if he takes f2 check.
Yep, just take this one, and then if it takes a check, and just take back in the diagonal, and you still have the A and B pawns that are marching free. But this is still, of course, good for white. The time situation, not looking ideal. And that kind of move, rook c6, is one that I question because, well, knight b4 doesn't look fun to me.
Gura certainly does not approve the move. It loses the pawn on a2, and, well, position becomes a little more complicated.
Hey, rook b5.
Oh, whoa. Okay, but bishop b4, you give up the h-pawn, and now rook d3 comes in. I think Teddy's losing the thread here.
Okay, now rook b5. Just go back.
Rook d3.
You always have bishop b6 if you need. So, white can never be in trouble here. But, of course, white seemed to be playing for more, and now might not get there. Oh, knight c5 is a good move. Look at that black king. It's in trouble. Rook b8, bishop d4. Watch out for a checkmate.
All of a sudden, there's a mating net. Yep.
Well, so be very, very careful.
It's okay. Remember, black is Danny Rensch, not Teddy Coleman.
Knight e4?
Knight e4, knight f6 coming in. You've got to move the bishop to e7, but then rook b7.
Yes, be very careful here.
Amazing. That's so well played by Teddy, realizing that black's king is as much danger as it is.
Okay, bishop g5. Okay, bishop f4. Same idea.
Same idea. Rook d. Okay,
oh, no. Rook b7
check. Knight f6 and bishop h6.
Yep, that's mate.
Bishop d2, bishop d6. Look at that.
Bishop e7. How do I win this?
Hanging by a single thread. Knight h7, king e8.
Okay. I don't see a win.
Yeah, amazing.
Bishop e5. I don't know about that. Knight f6.
f4. Cement that bishop.
Oh, f4 is nice. But I think bishop f6, tricky move. You can't take. Knight f6 is a fork. Bishop g5. Just play move like bishop g.
What does he want exactly? Okay, what does black do? Knight c1.
Rook g7. Play rook g7. Just go.
He does that preemptively. Yep, he wants to go rook g7.
Just do rook g7 here.
Rook e7 and knight e6.
Oh, knight e6.
Guy. Oh, and everything
rook g7
goes
check.
flying here and at rook d7.
Yep. Wait, his mate. It was rook takes g6, knight f8 mate. He missed a checkmate, but we'll forgive him because he's up a rook. And
I don't know about that.
Just feel it slipping. Right? You could feel that game slipping from Danny's hands.
Well, but then from Teddy, I mean, toward the end, it got complicated again.
Right.
But again, credit to Teddy. You say he's always nervous, Robert, but he seems to be keeping his cool plenty well in those time scrambles.
I'm just bringing up the board one more time because I wanted to show that really nice checkmate of rook takes g6, king h7, knight f8. The king has no squares for safety. As you can see, the king is out of options just with the rook, knight, and bishop configuration. Beautiful checkmate. But we get back to the live board. We have another Scotch. You've missed nothing. We're the same opening we've seen many, many times. And I really believe that these have been going well for Teddy when he doesn't blunder checkmate in one move.
Definitely.
And d5, there it is. The point being that if you take on d5, I take back with my c pawn, hitting your queen, and getting a tempo. And if you take en passant on d6, which just happened, you can just trade queens here and then take on
this
d6.
line. I know this is about equal, and he passes it to the man, and boom, boom goes the dynamite.
Yep.
Do you get that reference?
I should.
Tell me you know that reference.
That was from the, I don't know, tell me.
That's where I learned commentary from. Well, there was, I don't want to harp on this sport. So it was from a college TV station, I think, news report about sports highlights, and the teleprompter failed for the anchor, and he, let's just say, it doesn't seem like he was very well versed in basketball terminology, so he delivered a rather funny impromptu highlights reel commentary. Well,
Okay,
a little bit better than my commentary is, but still.
So some low lights, and this actually is about to be a low light for Danny. And I'm not changing the subject because I didn't know.
No. This is heating up. And DC, look at that king on e1.
Just knight takes c4 too. I mean, just bishop e2, knight takes c4.
Oh, bishop e2. I forgot about that. I thought he might go king d2 out of desperation. He does. Yep, this is destruction. DC, is it just resigns?
It's looking close to that. Take on b3.
Would say, is this just gaga? But I guess b6 is saying. So let's say cb-ab.
Then bishop f1.
And maybe bishop b6.
Oh, but I just bishop takes g2 and.
Okay, but rook g1, I have some try here, but no, but white is winning clearly.
Oh man, this looks terrible.
Yeah, this does look terrible. And
I know Danny swears by the this variation in the Scotch, but I think it's maybe he should change it up a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback in these situations say, he should change it up, but he should change it up. I mean, this is just not going well for him. I think he's not enjoying these positions. His king is always somehow caught on the crossfire in all of these different variations.
Oh, speaking of king in the crossfire,
look at that beaut on c5.
I tell people you use your king as a weapon in the endgame, which is exactly what Teddy's doing. Rook d4 here, go after the c4 pawn.
That's just a knife, that king on c5.
By the way, John Bartholomew, who is the #1 seed in this tournament and whose opinions I hold dear, he says, why does Danny like this line?
That's succinct, and that's exactly what we want us. By the way, the rook a3, Danny, again, showing resilience, but after rook a5, does Teddy have king b4?
Oh,
sorry,
yes, he does.
Not to take attention away from John's question. I think it's a great question. We're going to have to if only we had interviews after the match.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we have those?
Do we have interviews? I think
this is on the schedule.
I think it is.
Okay,
I think we might have to give Danny a bit of a hard time. What do you say, partner?
Yeah, I don't like this variation, and not just because I have really bad memories of it from the Chess.com matchup where our queen got stuck on h1. I don't know if I mentioned that, but our queen was stuck in the corner, and we said nobody puts babe in the corner. The Chess Pros did it, and it hurt a little bit. But right now, what's hurting is Danny's down a minute on the clock. He's down 3 points on the scoreboard. Teddy's king is on c5, and it's being used as a weapon. It's not weak there. It's actually very strong there. And just king b4, right? He's going to play king b6, but king b4.
Danny has to just say his prayers. King b4. The problem is also bishop takes f1 and rook e2. Look at that king in synergy with the two rooks. Unless Danny has some sort of trick, like king b4, could you... No, I don't see where the rook can go, right? Because any move you play bishop f1 and rook e2. I think Teddy's just double checking. Yeah.
And there he goes. He goes king b4. And that's, I think, about time because...
one thing, the rook a7. Sorry to interrupt.
No, rook a7, I take.
Bishop f1, rook b1 check.
Yeah, king c5.
And then maybe rook f1.
You're a feisty one. What about king c4?
Rook a4 check.
Then king back.
And then I take on d4.
But then I'm super active. Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know.
Good point.
So rook a7.
Try that.
I like that decision to try rook a7.
Rook a7. Danny Rensch, time pressure now. 21 seconds for Chess.com. Chess.
I love it. So where's this king going?
King-
C5. I like king c4.
Yeah, I like to because king c5, rook f1, that c3 score is very, very annoying.
Although you can put both your rooks in the second rank and probably just crush that endgame too.
I think both of those moves are good. He does choose king c4. It's more practical, I think. It's just impossible for white to defend that. But the rook e2, king b3.
Mm-hmm.
And then c5, rook d1.
Yep. And then, but the rook will just go back to f1. So you kick the king away from the d file and then go rook back to f1. So c5, check, king e wherever, king e4, rook back to f1. But maybe then king. The problem is you can't trade rooks as black because in these lines there's king c4 and the a pawn runs free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big advantage for white. I feel like Teddy's starting to get a little bit nervous here. And if I may read his face, is this the Teddy I can't believe there's nothing here face?
This is Teddy. Uh-oh, how am I botching this face? That's for sure. And he's studying the board hard. He's looking. He's like, what? Why didn't I just put both of my rooks on the second rank there? It's because I took Danya's advice, and why would I do that?
I know. Big.
But
never
king
do
b6
that.
here. I mean, just go king b6, king a5. And
yeah, still look at rook c2, though. Danny gets his rook to c2.
Yep, that's why I wanted king b6 first.
Exactly. Now, as you said, of course he can't take. Now he's got to move his rook back. White's probably not worse anymore.
Nope, that pawn is annoying. Go rook e4.
What a resilient. Now a5 is.
Take it. Rook takes a5.
That was terrible. Why?
No, that's a bad move. You suggested it.
Stop. Oh my god! I need to stop giving.
Oh, rook c6. The king takes on c6.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion. I fell into the same illusion.
Man, that was the illusion defense, was it not?
Lesson, moral, another Aesop's fable. Do not listen to Daniel Naroditsky. I don't understand what's so hard to understand about that.
Rook g4. He's trying to go f4. Yep.
Yep. And just break through that structure. Well, there's no hurry. c5.
Yeah, the white pawn on f2 can't move because the g3 pawn collapses, and so he's slow playing this, as Danny would say, slow jams. Wait, I don't like the rook there. That's
right, because
good.
king c6 can be met with rook c8.
Exactly. Although do that. King c6, you can't get away with it.
Yep.
Come on, Teddy, don't flag. You've done that already. King
b6. Now king. Okay, so Danny's just treading water, basically asking him what
king
the plan
c7?
is. King d6 then.
King d6.
Oh, now rook c8. King d6
d7.
still.
King e7.
Don't draw. Danny declined to draw.
Move your king to d. Play on. Come on, man. Play on. You're up a pawn in an endgame. Look at this. We're going to bring up the analysis board. I think they just made it to get one final game in the 3-minute. They were just barely beat the shot clock. I'm bringing up the analysis board because if you even play king to d7, rook takes c5, you play rook e2 in the end position, black is first to the action. So I get it that it still might be a draw, but you got to play on because you start up a pawn. The worst that happens is your opponent makes a draw somehow, but it has to fight for it. So that's a missed opportunity for Teddy. He's struggled in some of these moments in time trouble. He has the hand on the forehead, what am I doing look, and probably Robert, stop talking about me look. And I like his position again, though, in this game.
And Daniel, stop giving me advice look. But they're both having that. Stop giving me advice like face. Another one of those. They are so principled about sticking to their openings.
Yes.
I admire that. But with Danny and the Scotch, I cannot wrap my head around that.
Okay. Is he going to take it, play c5, or just play c5 right away?
Yeah, he's going to take on d5.
Yep. And just castle. Don't hang g2.
So no, that's bishop. He would have only hung that if there was a bishop on c6.
Right. So Vidit has blundered apparently a bunch of checkmate and checkmate and ones in his life. So he should be watching this and seeing, hey, at least I'm not the only one, because I was making fun of him for it. Wait, the knight coming to f5 feels very powerful. And there it is. And the next knight might come to f4.
Knight f5 once again. Yeah, he overlooked that, I'm pretty sure. Ooh. This looks now? Rook d1.
And queen e4, I guess.
And then...
Okay, when bishop b2. I liked your rook d1 move, though. Because here I thought queen d3.
Queen d3, you got to force. Yeah, I agree.
But queen d3 just rook c1. Just like be calm here. I'm threatening to take on d6.
The tension, the tension continues. I mean, the pressure continues in the end game. Yeah.
So queen e4 or queen d3 both can be met with rook to c1. I like
That's a
that.
good move.
The bishop on b2. I think that's been a very important for Teddy, is having the clearly superior bishop throughout these games.
Yep. Right. And knight g4. Danny going for some tricks, and he took very quickly on d6. I think he would have. I mean, what about h3? I wasn't worried about all these checks, right?
Right. And Black now don't play h3 because queen h2 is checkmate. So you have to watch out for the square now. And knight g3 feels like one way of taking care of that.
I'm getting nervous, Robert.
Wait, g5?
G5, bishop f6, I guess.
Okay.
Or rook d1.
Rook d1.
Close,
rook d1.
Close.
Yeah. But that pawn we're on c6, and then maybe there's some g5 action. But no, rook d1 here, of course, kicks the queen off. He plays queen to d2. Now rook a to c1 feels just right.
Right.
The knight on g4. At some moment soon, I'm gonna play h3, and your knight's not gonna be very happy, including right now.
Yeah, knight e3 is nothing. It just takes in queen f2.
Yeah,
Ooh,
h3.
What does Black even do? He's got to go this nasty looking move, knight h6.
And then taking on f6 so quickly.
Oh gosh.
And leaving you with these ugly double pawns.
And that horrible knight that can be even further restricted with g4. I mean, this is just... I feel like Danny did this a little bit out of inertia. He assumed there would be some tactic here, but there's just nothing.
Right. And no tactics, none that I see at least. You trade queens, you're just in a worse endgame. And actually, the white rook can land on c5. So I would even consider bishop f6, gf6, queen d2. Okay, in this move order, you want to get the queens off the board to safeguard your king, but rook c5 here, which cuts this knight out of the game. You can play g4. I like your move as well.
Right, but why make further, pawn moves? Rook c5 is less committal. I like it.
There it is.
And so does Mr. Coleman.
And another annoying thing for Black is that you need a rook protecting that pawn because knight h5 will not allow the king to get to g7. So sometimes you have these weak pawns, just sit a king on g7. Here you can't do that with a knight h5 move.
And it's pivotal for Danny to save this game, Robert. This is the last game of the segment. How bad is it to be down 4? How important is this game, do you think, in terms of the bullet portion?
Before the last couple of weeks and month, I would have said that Danny is by far the favorite in bullet, but that 1 second increment, I think, really helps Teddy's chances because historically he's not a bullet player, and Danny is quite good at bullet. So I do think that Danny is has the upper hand in the bullet portion, but right now being down 3 games, you have all that psychology from the previous time segments. It's definitely going to be difficult. And is Teddy going to play a5 or b5?
A5. Look at the a5. I feel like a5 is so good, carving out that c5 square for the rook. But again, he's maybe king h2. Wow.
Yep.
I'm loving the way Teddy is playing. Every move is thought out, confidently executed. Although allowing f5, I don't know. It's not that the rook is in danger, but I like this move f5, practically speaking.
So do I. The rook is
g4.
awkward.
Maybe
I was thinking
g4
rook g5 check. Rook g5, king f6, h4, and then going knight h5 check, but maybe I'm asking for too much.
Yeah, knight g4 can be met with king g3 there. He goes f3. That's suspicious. What about rook e8?
The thing is, rook c3 happens, and you can't get your rook to pile up pressure on the pawn e3 because the knight on f4 is a beauty. Takes away e6 from your rook. Black's just frozen.
Yep, he's paralyzed, and these are so hard to play in time pressure when you basically
G4.
out of moves.
Oh, g5's coming.
Knight is forced back. King comes forward. So patient.
Yep.
By Teddy. He's not hurrying to do anything. Rook e8 maybe, and then e4 is a possibility.
Just gaining space. Rook e5 here for white, threatening knight h5 check and just getting your rook active because rook g5, all right?
This is some Russian school of chess technique so far. Maybe a5 now, just strike on the other side.
Oh, I like that move. e4, okay. But rook d4 now?
Okay. Be careful with the time, too. He's got some e5, e6 ideas there. He just...
Wait, there's knight d5. He wins an exchange. Rook c8, and he's a knight... Oh, he missed rook c8, knight h5, or knight...
Oh, and the fork, that's
He just wins. Rook c8, you got to protect the knight, king g7, knight h5
but now
check.
he's made a hash of this. Oh, no, he's just traded everything. Why'd he do that?
Oh, my gosh.
Now Danny's got excellent drawing. I mean, I don't think White's advantage is significant. He's still better.
But knights are so tricky.
Right. And that knight to c8, I like it. Knight d6, knight a7. He's going to start pushing his pawn.
Okay.
Now rook a1. Oh, rook a1's a nasty
a1.
move.
That's good.
Rook a1's hard to deal with. That might even be...
Don't like that decision.
Too passive. I think I jinxed him again.
Yeah. The good news is the knight on a7 is very stuck, and now e5. Okay, e5, king e4 was just there for you, the taking, and he's still going to go e5.
Yep, and king c4 maybe.
Ooh, king c4 is nice.
Yeah. Now
Or
Danny does what he has to do, and if rook g1, there's knight b6 check.
Mm-hmm.
So what is going on here?
f5 is coming. f5.
Then f6.
Then knight e7. King d5. Okay, go king d5. King c5. Excuse me.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
That's
brave, but I think it is a draw because the knight comes to g5, the king comes to g7. It's a fortress. Ooh, this is a scary move.
Yeah, you could have won the h pawn right away. So he had an opportunity to win the h pawn, but he's going to try to get his king to e7. So he actually could have thrown in a check on b8 first and played king e7.
I don't like h5.
Rook h4.
I really don't like h5. He could have kept that pawn on h6. Now he loses this.
Rook king e7. With king g6. Wasn't there king g6, king f5 there?
Yes, probably. Oh, look at that pre-move.
King f6.
Oh, now it's over.
Rook
now
g7,
rook g7 picks
f7.
off the pawn for Danny.
And Teddy with 3.9 seconds. And look at that, Danny being cheeky there, hoping for a pre-move. And Teddy wins this final game. He goes up by 4 points. I mean, he bungled that. Then he won it once more. Danny put up stubborn defense, but unfortunately in mutual time trouble, was not able to stave off a hungry Teddy Coleman. We will go on a break, and when we return, we'll have the bullet portion. Danny Rensch faces a 4-game deficit. He is a tremendously strong bullet player. He has all the chances in the world, but Teddy Coleman is the upper hand. We will be back in just a few short minutes. And we return to the marquee matchup of the first round of the I Am Not a GM Speed Chess Championship, brought to you by Chess.com. We take a look at a potential second round matchup because Teddy Coleman, Danny Rensch, it all comes down to the bullet now. Teddy with the 4-game lead. But Danya, I wanted to ask you, no matter who wins this match, how do you see them lining up with Levy Rosman, Gotham Chess, in that quarterfinal?
Well, Levy really made a statement with his first round matchup against Tanya. He's an incredibly experienced player online, and I think experience plays such a huge role, as we saw in some of the other matches. I really think that both of these players would be pretty evenly matched against Levy, and I'm not just saying that to be kind to all the players. That's not my specialty. But that's going to be another match that's really going to be decided in the concrete moments. So I don't think Levy is the favorite against either of these players. I think they're both about equal in strength, but should be a very, very interesting round 2 match for sure. What do you think, Robert?
Yeah, I have to see how this bullet goes because that really makes a huge difference. It sounds like a cop-out because, I need to wait and see who wins the match. That's not really what it's about. I want to see how these players play bullet because I know Levy is quite a strong bullet player. And if they're about level in Blitz and then Levy is the advantage in bullet, you have to go with the number 2 seed, Levy Rosman. He's the number 2 seed for a reason. But for example, Teddy is not a big bullet player on Chess.com. Danny does not really play bullet either. If he's doing anything, he's playing Title Tuesday when he's not working his tail off to make Chess.com what it is. So I'm very curious to see how these two players battle in the bullet portion that's coming up, and if they prove that they can move quickly and well and can make timely sacrifices or prove to be stubborn defenders, then I think they have a better chance against Levy. But as I see it right now, Levy has to be the favorite.
Absolutely. I think that's a pretty good assessment, and he is just so experienced and a very fast player. And if all of this action is making you pumped up and you want to jump into the action, well, we've got something for you. Premium Arena is coming to Chess.com for members, and there's prize funds. So big prize fund, $4,500. The next Premium Arena, Sunday, May 3rd. Set your alarms, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Titled, it's not only for title players. Everybody, titled and non-titled players, welcome to join. And we've got a lot of prizes for streamers and non-streamers. It's going to be a great event. So I'm pretty sure everybody watching this, Robert, they're going to want to jump into the action. So we're going to see a stacked arena on May 3rd.
Yeah, pretty cool. I know this is just a ploy for Danny to get me to start streaming because, I haven't done that in a long, long time. And Danny's always just, subtly hinting, hey, Robert, streaming's going really well for people. You should do it. I'm like, hey, isn't my face plastered on twitch.tv/chess far more than is necessary or desired? So, if Danny gets his wish, I'm going to be playing in those premium arenas as well. Hope to see you there. But what I want to see first and foremost is the bullet portion. We should start any second now.
That's the real arena right now.
I'm very curious. Look at Danny Rensch. He's been trying to meditate a little bit, clear his thoughts, clear his mind, and clear his heart. And, well, it's Teddy Coleman's match to lose at this point. Does Teddy have it in him, Danya?
I think he does. I think Danny does look intimidating there, praying to the bullet gods, but that's a big lead. 4 points is a very, very big lead. Teddy's just got to stay calm. He's got to draw these games out.
He got tricked. He pre-moved Queen E7.
Oh, wow. Danny. How bad is this? Oh, this is bad, right?
Yeah, it's bad because E5, Bishop G5, all this stuff is happening. I don't think it's lost, which is the good news. And actually, it can confuse your opponent and make your opponent take some precious time. But like right now, if there's no knockout, just castle, play H6.
Still, that pin is worrying me because Queen F3 followed by E5.
Well, I think he shouldn't have delayed H6. You should go H6, G5 very quickly. That way, now you can't play G5 because F4 pawn's here.
He was playing with fire, and now maybe you should move your Rook queen away to E8.
I thought Rook B8. Just hit the B2 pawn. Maybe make the knight a little weak.
Yeah, this looks so dubious. Now Rook E1 or King H1.
Yep.
That king side is in disastrous condition. And
at some moment there might even be a bishop takes F6. Oh, no, not anymore because bishop's on F2, and then a knight E4, and he plays knight E4 anyway. Do you just take on B2 and pray?
You do. I mean, we saw Danny praying to the bullet gods, but maybe they'll favor Teddy in this game. Bishop D7, I kind of like his, but now it takes on F6 and Rook E4 is one option. You can also play Queen H5. He goes Bishop H4, also good.
Queen takes B2. Just do it. I know it looks scary, but
no, you have to. Yeah, maybe C3, but yeah, C3. There's some complication.
Then I take on E4. Then I take on C3. Like then you start losing all your pawns, and you may have a brilliant attack, but I have stolen a bunch of your pawns in the process.
Right, and basically down to 30 seconds. So it's always hard to attack and bullet when you got to be precise. And
Knight takes
what's the
E4.
margin for error like? Does Danny have to win this game? I mean, I feel like he does.
Oh.
F6.
That hurts to look at, but rook F7 now, and the bishop C4, and then bishop takes D5 stuff, like sacrificing the piece on D5 wins some material. So, okay, bishop C4. That's it. Bishop C4. Bishop C4, D5, bishop D5, C5, rook takes F7, and
rook F8. Oh, rook F7 first. Okay, nice.
Yep.
He does things in the other move order. This also works.
Yep.
The problem is also rook E1 is a nasty little check. That's basically mate.
And yep, queen takes, and then queen back to D5 with check. Pick up the bishop on D7.
Windmill right there, and this one's over.
Yeah.
Red Rover.
That was a nice victory for Danny here. I'm calling it because he's about to checkmate Teddy on E8. And it can't be stopped without losing your queen. So that's it. And Teddy is letting the match clock go. So probably just trying to, take a breather. And plays queen B8 and bishop C5, rook E8 check. It just wins the queen. Oh, okay. Threatening bishop C5 mate.
6. Yep. And that's what it'll do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you've got to, he's up by 4, bleeding the clock. Totally legitimate strategy. But yeah, the clock's running so fast. Already 22 minutes left. Danny's got to win this one as well. I mean, he's got to win basically 4 games straight out. You can't lose. That's the thing, because
bishop D3.
That isn't D. I mean, I guess that's a move. Or
if that might just be some kind of obscure something or other that this is kind of annoying, actually. The bishop on C8 is stuck there.
Yeah, that bishop on E4. Now D4. You can't take on C4 because of queen A4 check.
Right, just to show everybody.
I like it. He seems booked up to the teeth here.
Oh, so, it turned out really well.
And look at him going to the end game. He's not necessarily against a long draw, but right now, Danny's definitely worse here.
Rook B1, stopping the bishop from ever leaving the C8 square, and B6 not possible because the C6 pawn is under attack. And E5 doesn't really help your cause. I mean, you can play it, and he does play it, but rook E1 here, for instance, you just scoot the king away. D5.
Super solid. I like that move, too. That bishop can be cemented with C4. He's not worried about his pawn structure because, again, the piece placement is just so superior for...
rook takes B7. What?
Oh, bishop C2 now.
Yeah,
oh, no. He could have just taken the pawn.
Oh, that was confusing. He could have done it in one turn. Now he's just losing the... Okay, you can't pin the bishop. That's the good news. Maybe it's not dead loss just
yet. It's not dead loss, but if he's already moving the rook...
bishop A3.
Bishop G5. Bishop G5.
Oh, my God. Bishop G5.
No, missed it.
They both missed it. They missed it.
Oh,
no.
Oh, man. This is...
Play bishop A4.
This is a painful little stretch. Still, believe it or not, that pawn on C5 is super strong. Practically speaking, white's in the game, but I'm starting
King
to
D2.
worry about
Wait, King D2. King D2, King
the
C2.
Rook is trapped. Oh, my God.
The rook is trapped. E4, good move. King C2.
King C2 anyway. EF, GF. Oh, but now EF, GF, Rook C1. Maybe he gets that connected passers. No, that shouldn't be.
I don't think it's enough. Just take on E4, King D2. Wow.
Bishop D5 or Bishop C2.
Oh, that's a good move. That's a good move.
Man.
That's a clutch move.
Huge by Teddy. And he can even bleed the clock if he wants here and not accept a draw immediately.
Yes. King E2. There you go. Bishop C3, King E3. And it's maybe a little bit early to try to bleed the clock, but I mean, I guess. You have 3 points.
Make 50 moves here.
Danny has proven the better of the 2 bullet players thus far. That's the little we've seen.
And he's, I mean, I keep looking at that clock, less than 20 minutes. Next game, he's going to be white. Okay, so Teddy seems to be doing that.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. He can make 50 moves here if you want.
No, and we've seen this in the Speed Chess Championships. All of the players, when they're leading their matches, they do things like we saw Karu Nakamura one time just move his king a million times. So all players are actually smart from a gamesmanship point of view to do something like that. And Teddy eventually makes that draw, wasted more time off the clock. We have a 3-game match, no Queen E7 in this one. But we have this line that Danny played earlier, and Queen E7. Are we going to get this G5? We do. So castle and knight takes E5. Ooh,
Bishop C3 this time. Okay.
D4.
So Queen E4.
Then F5. Oh, but then there's Queen takes C6. Actually, you might have been right.
I like this, especially in a bullet game for white, because he's got the initiative here. Even if he's objectively Queen H5, F6, Bishop H7. Uh-oh. He's got to play F5, but then
a knight F3 check doesn't work, which is sad.
This is immediate trouble for black. I think Teddy's got to bite the bullet, play F6, Bishop H7, King G7.
Yeah, because F5, the G5 pawn.
Oh. The problem is they're repeating these openings, but while Teddy got good positions in the blitz portion, I feel like these openings and he misses it.
Bishop h7 was your tactic, and it wasn't
Yes.
Bishop g4.
Now queen h6, queen g7.
And then queen
He might want to
g7.
queen trade.
Oh no.
Oh, no, Danny played way too fast there. He had to take some time.
Yeah, and he's up, 15 seconds, but he's also down a pawn.
I think he just got a little overexcited there.
Okay, he's gonna go queen g7.
Fire.
Queen g7.
Yeah. Takes him bishop b4 maybe, but I feel like only black can win this game at this point.
Although it is bullet and white is up 8 seconds. So.
Exactly, anything can happen. True.
Yeah. So
but f5
or knight c4. Oh, but the c6 pawn is hanging. Okay, I'm being a little bit too free, not protecting the pieces enough. Bishop d7 is another move if you want to be.
He's got to watch the clock though. I think he's calculating f5 and he's about to play it. Nope.
Rook b8. He definitely was looking at f5.
I guess there's no hurry. That knight on e5 is such a monster.
Yep. Great piece there. Bishop back anywhere. Okay, bishop d7.
Right. Okay, Danny's trying to get his bishop to c5.
Yep.
I feel like now's the time to bless you.
Sneezing the truth. I don't know what you were going to say, but I believe in it.
Sneeze is always more important.
That caught me off guard. Whew. Just almost threw my glasses off my face. Wait.
But Robert, Teddy could have traded on e1 and played rook e8. I feel like he's making a bit of a hash in terms of drawing this because now bishop e5 keeps the rooks on the board. White has some chances here.
Maybe he doesn't want to draw so quickly. He just wants to spit. Wait, that's a pawn.
That is a pawn.
Just go rook b2.
c5 and it's still well
bishop
within
d6, bishop e6. So you're going to have bishop on e6 and your extra pawn is one of these double ones over here.
But rook e5, rook a5 maybe?
Yeah.
No, that's not very much.
I like the idea though. Ooh, there goes the rook.
King comes to g6.
Then bishop e5.
Okay, f4 maybe, and king f5.
Oh, that's nice. You lose the h7 pawn, I guess. Unless you go king h6, which is way too passive. Just take it.
Got to take it.
Oh, but a3 now.
Yeah.
Although
h4, trying to be tricky here. I like what Danny's doing. That f4 pawn's going to lose its support.
Oh no, just take.
No, take that. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I would have taken him with the pawn perhaps, but this is just scooping up everything.
Well, he's still got the a pawn. That's not over yet.
Yeah,
h5 and rook a7. Oh,
wait, how do you stop this pawn?
How do you stop the h pawn though?
You can't. You
rook
can't.
b1. You got to play rook. Oh, you can't do it. b8 is defended. Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow.
The b8 square is covered.
And it's just, I mean, boom goes the dynamite. Queen e8. Million different mates here.
And Teddy is clearly just not resigning because hey, the match time. Queen g5 mate. Okay.
Chase. He had king e6.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm just.
And that is mate.
Ooh.
Look
at
Danny.
Danny down 2.
He's got got that beast mode on. Look at that face. He's fully focused.
Okay, we have this line again. Bishop d3. I don't know what this thing is here.
It's some home cooking together with the avocado toast.
And he played bishop d3. Then he thought for a little bit. I don't really know why he thought because. Oh wait, I don't like this position.
Oh, bishop g5.
Bishop g5 check.
He could win the queen.
He's gonna win the queen. Okay, he stopped it.
He could have won the queen though, right?
Yep. Bishop g5 won the queen on the spot.
Oh my goodness.
And Teddy probably knows it. He's like, oh, what's wrong with me?
Oh my goodness.
But this is still good for white. Your bishop on e4 is a great piece.
It is. It is. Okay. Well, he's
okay.
basically. But if Danny activates that bishop on c8, tables could turn.
Yes. Although this is likely going to be a long game. Queen e3 or queen e2.
Danny, look at the speed too. It's working well for him. Maybe he's playing a little too fast, but he's retaining a lot of time, and that's serving him so well at the end of the game.
h3, because you can't take on g2 as rook h2 was there.
Good move.
So he didn't play it.
Bringing the bishop to c6. Teddy's got to watch his king side.
Oh, that's
castle.
not a move you really want to play. It's castle king side. Oh, but then there's no knight e5. The knight is pinned to the queen.
And I can't castle queen side because of c6.
Yes, I just going to break everything open here. And castling king side, queen h5.
What a zen little.
Oh,
he picks off the pawn.
But then rook d1, knight e5, maybe?
Yeah, but bishop b5, bishop a6. I agree. White has some chances there. Oh
okay.
No, this is going out of control though for Teddy. Bishop c6 maybe.
Bishop c6 looks good. I'd play rook d4 and try to go rook c4, something like that, just to stir up some trouble.
Absolutely, and if castles that h file, maybe White can create some intrigue there. But look at the time, 15 seconds.
No, this is not good.
This is not
for
the
Teddy.
way.
This is all Danny in the bullet so far.
And there's plenty of time remaining. There's 13 minutes. If he wins this one, it's a 1-point game.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Rook d4. Okay.
Yeah, now he hits the c1 rook. That forces a rook trade.
And
Queen
you're right
d2.
about this open H file. If somehow you play h4, h5, and eventually get to the H file, you're happy, but it's a long story.
I don't know. Danny could have traded rooks. I don't know why he didn't. I guess he wants to double. Everything is good in this position. Just rook d7.
Although rook b1 kind of stuff, and this b6 pawn is a target. Play c4, play rook b1 at the right moment, and that could be initial. Rook takes f7.
Rook f7.
Oh no,
Rook
that's
d3.
not a pawn you want to lose. Rook d3, rook f8 check maybe.
Yep.
This game continues. That is a very important pawn to the black position.
It is because e6 is weak now. Black's king is weak.
Take it and play queen c6.
You can also take and go rook e6.
Yep.
Okay, nice.
How many pawns is white down? Just one?
Just one, and he's about to be down 0 because e6 and b6.
Queen takes e6
takes
check.
e6. This should be a draw. b5. Danny uses his chances.
Rook e5.
Yep.
Okay,
now b4. Oh,
no.
Robert, he blundered.
Yep, he definitely blundered.
No. ba.
Rook b5. Rook b5. Oh, then rook d1 check.
A2 and rook d1 check.
Oh, that's...
Oh, he's got to do this, and now a2. But this is...
No.
Take f2 and rook b2, and this is gone.
Yep,
Gone
this
Girl.
is over. Gone Girl's a great movie, but...
It is. It
that's
has nothing
another
to do with the
conversation.
game. Relevance.
Oh,
Demerits.
gosh.
Danny's just taking everything. And the simplest is king g3 takes g4, walk the king over to b3.
Yep.
And notice that king. That king is a beast, just shouldering off white's king.
That's hilarious, by the way. Everything that just happened there was just
crazy
hilarious.
turns of events. Okay.
And king b2, and that's it. So Teddy now only going to be up one game.
This is what we were all waiting for, Robert. This is down to the wire. And what a performance in the early going in the bullet here by Danny.
Yep. He was down by 4 points. Now he's down by 1. And we have a match, everybody. We have a match. Danny Rensch has been extremely impressive in the bullet. Teddy Coleman was on fire in the longer blitz time controls. And just the scotch. It's back to it. I like Teddy's position.
Scotch. Seatbelts mandatory, ladies and gentlemen. We've got right around 11 minutes remaining in the match. This is pure adrenaline. And another scotch. And here, a5, a4. I feel like they've done this before. Yep. I've lost complete track, Robert, of what's been going on in every scotch. Queen before check I haven't seen before.
A takes b3 here, please. Oh, my knight's hanging. My knight's hanging.
Yeah. Okay, this is good. Now knight c2 is a threat.
Oh, knight a2.
Oh my goodness. Again, Danny playing too quickly.
And knight b4 back, and black is up a pawn.
Yep, and that d5 square is a monster for the knight.
Yeah, you can eventually castle, put a rook on b8, knight d5. Yeah, this is really in Teddy's favor.
Yeah, and now he starts to think, but it's a little too late. That b file too is going to just devastating if he doubles, especially rook b5.
Yep, bishop takes c5 here if you'd like. He takes, okay.
Okay, I guess that's concrete. Now if he takes on c5, yeah, that king is not really in any danger. But this is what I found annoying, rook g4 check. So
h5 and there's rook f5, rook g5. I mean, not now because it's nice c3 check, but you could...
Rook g7, rook b8, rook f2, knight f6. Okay.
Yeah, you always have knight f6, so that saves the day. Rook a2
that's a
here.
good move by Danny, but it doesn't.
Oh, d6. That scared me. King e8 about rook g8 mate.
Rook a4 though. Rook a4.
Rook a4. Ooh,
king e8. Tricky. He's got king e8.
Yeah, king e8 to d7, but then there's nothing. There's nothing.
There's still rook
Wait,
f8.
Bishop takes d6 right now is a threat, so you can't go rook b8. You have to go king e8.
King. Oh, okay. You might repeat.
Check. Can the king not escape?
Oh,
no, don't repeat
King e8 is winning. King e8 is winning.
Oh, that's a big missed opportunity for Teddy there.
That is.
Oh, my gosh.
Teddy's got to slow down in the opening. He's playing way too quickly.
He is. And we're back to d4 by Teddy. So c4 hasn't been working out for him. He had those positions. We're going to get this knight e2, knight f4 stuff, which I do think has been good for him, even though I don't like the line too much. It just allows him to get a spatial advantage, and it did seem like he felt comfortable, especially that game he got the bishop on c6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the bullet, knight a5, though, something went terribly wrong for Teddy. He didn't get b4 in as he did previously.
I got
c5,
nothing.
I can take a knight b3, unfortunately.
Yeah, this looks strange. So just play down a pawn, I guess. I mean,
yep, just got a castle. There's some compensation. There's a c file. I don't think White's actually in that much trouble here.
You're down, 53 seconds is plenty of time, but, just the
Queen
feeling
C4,
of...
though. He had queen c4.
Oh, you're right. But blundering game after game must feel terrible.
f4.
Okay, c5 though?
But takes, okay.
You scared me. I was like, wait.
But I think he still blundered.
Bishop takes b7 and then
Rook
knight e4.
c5.
Then knight e4. Just go for something like this.
Bishop b5.
Ah, you're
Oh no, he blunders the knight. Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Calm down.
Oh my gosh. This is why Teddy needed to play that game on instead of just making a draw, because he's clearly the weaker of the two bullet players.
Oh man.
And when Danny converts this game, and I say when because I'm confident in his ability to convert it, it will be a tied match. And that must feel absolutely horrible. 8 minutes left. Teddy on full tilt. Knight g4, g3.
Yeah, that's a good move. G3, queen f3. He's not playing around. He is going straight for the jugular here. And I agree, Rob. That was a critical moment. It was an end game. He had some more time to think. He was up so many pawns. That's got to burn. But he's got to calm. He's just got to calm himself. 7 minutes to go. He's not losing the match. He wins one game and he's right back on top. But this is it. This is what we've all been waiting for.
Well, it's about to be a tied match for the first time since it was like half-half, I want to say, because Teddy dominated the longer time controls. Danny showing off his might in bullet. All of these adopted Danny and getting beat up by Hikaru and all these other players has clearly paid off for his bullet skill. I think he was grossly underrated to start this match. And, well, Teddy's still playing this out. I don't know if you want to play this out. I mean, you're gonna lose
I don't think it matters either way. I think he's, there will be time for another game either way. Maybe another two.
Oh, there's 7 minutes left. Yeah, we got time.
Oh, yeah, plenty. Definitely another two at least.
Okay, and this is
Here we go.
This is tough. And Teddy has been getting good games out of the Scotch. So if you get the Scotch again, you just need to take advantage like you did in that previous game, because I don't think Danny's really proving anything with the white side of this.
He's changing things up, but every time he's getting in trouble with his king. So yeah, Teddy's got to play the way he's been playing these end games too. He's been getting great positions out of them.
Yep.
This they have had before on passant and then CD, or on passant queen e4.
Yes.
This is approximately equal end game.
And this is the type of thing that Teddy needs to play because it's not so complicated. What
I don't like that move at all.
Yeah, wait, the e5 pawn is
That's
weak.
a terrible move.
e5's hanging with check.
Oh my, what is he doing?
And then bishop b4.
Oh.
Wait,
bishop b4.
And then bishop takes e2. And then this bishop takes e2. Okay, now
queen
d4.
e2, d4 wins a piece. But then castles.
Then I take on c3, no?
Yeah, no, you do. And b2. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Take off passant there, trade queens.
Just when I thought that Danny was... Oh no, rook e1 that's covered. Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
We're getting scared here. King e7. Just bring that king up.
Yeah, there's nothing. Everything's defend. Look at that knight on b6 defending d7.
Yep,
just got to find one or two moves here.
The queen defends all. Rook h to d8. Okay, that scared me because I thought there was a d7 thing happening. We stole a bishop.
He's got to be careful, Robert, because rook e3 a threat.
It is. It is indeed. He plays
bishop c5.
I don't. That's a tough move to play.
Now you double on the default, threatening rook d7 check.
You're right.
Uh-oh.
How do I stop rook d7? Maybe rook e8.
Be away.
Rook e8 and this king f8.
Very nice. Yep. Guaranteeing shelter for the king. That's a nice move.
Yes, because there it is. You don't want your king to get stuck away from the rook there.
Clutch defensive thinking by Teddy.
And king h1, king f8, queen e1 is probably just too risky, so don't do that because then your back rank is in some trouble.
Queen e7, queen. Just don't blunder the bishop.
Queen e7 looks good. Don't play queen e1.
Yep, this is also perfectly. Now he's threatening checkmate on top of other things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Queen takes h4.
Ooh, queen e8 scared me for a second. Queen e8, rook e1. He's got bishop e7. Otherwise,
I'm glad you said it because I was going to, and I was like, it doesn't work. So rook e1 check. Rook e1.
Rook e1 was mate.
Queen f2. Rook takes h7. Then rook e1 is probably what he's going to do.
King h2, and I'm sure there's...
It's funny because you don't see rook e1 at first sometimes. And now queen f4 check among many other moves. Queen f2 back. And queen takes f5. Okay, queen takes f5.
And h7 falls. He's got to resign now. Wait. So how much time left in the match? 4 minutes. This basically is a must-win.
Rookie. I mean, how many checks are there? The bishop will be hanging with check.
Just anything. Don't lose on time.
So do not lose on time. Rook e2, and then what? Rook f2, queen g1.
Okay, queen e2. Yeah, he did.
Oof.
Wow.
That was nerve-wracking. And Danny really is getting nothing with that Scotch. I mean, we'll ask them after the game, but it feels like Teddy has had the superior positions from the black side of that. So it's interesting because Teddy's English from the white side had not been working for him. And Danny just had a great position with the black side of his d4, knight e2, knight f4 junk. that I don't like. But now Teddy has a more traditional setup, and I think it's a very good choice when you take the lead back.
Yeah, and it's basically a must, as you said, Robert, a must not lose, because if you lose, the match is over.
Yep.
If you draw, maybe that's another game, but essentially it's a must win.
And look at that pawn center for Teddy.
Carl's, yeah, this is normally good for white, but Danny's got to apply immediate pressure on that center. Maybe rook a8 quickly.
Yep.
5, okay, brave. He wants 94, 96, but he can't do that immediately. D4 will fall.
Yeah. Well, the h5 is hanging, right? So
That's
94 bishop e2. The problem is this at the end. You just knight h5.
I don't know about rook f2. That might be a little bit too slow. Now e5 is undermined.
Okay, c5. And he takes it. And I guess if queen e5, there's knight e4, but there's something weird about this rook on f2 here.
Yeah,
knight e4 just rook takes d3.
Yeah, but it's crumbling. It's crumbling, and that's what happens in the Carlsbad when the center crumbles.
Yep.
Bishop c8.
Bishop c4, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. The bishop c8 is a good practical move. Look at the clock. 53 seconds for Danny. b4.
I don't know.
Okay, knight g6, this.
Okay, so Teddy handling this few last few moves well, but he only has 23 seconds. Bishop e6, I would say.
Rook d2.
Wait,
now
what?
He takes d2.
Just take d2. Take d2. Queen takes d2. Or bishop e8.
No, bishop e8, there was a pin. There was a pin.
The pin.
Oh, but I don't like this. You're right. I don't like this. Bishop e6. Bishop. Oh, I think about it again. Knight d5. No, I just move somewhere. Knight.
Yeah, knight d5 looks good.
No, but then you take the queen and the knight.
Oh, the knight falls. You're absolutely
right. Rook f1 is a good move, though. Very calm. Look at this.
Wait, what? Knight takes f. What's happening here? Queen f7. Knight takes f4 stuff.
Queen f7 played.
No, he's pinned. He's pinned. Knight e2.
Pin.
Oh, the knight h5 hangs.
Oh my goodness.
What in the world is happening here?
No, he blundered a knight.
The knight c3 is also hanging.
Okay, but you can't take it because knight f4, queen f4.
Oh, he missed knight g6 check intermezzo, I think, there too.
Oh, that was winning. Oh, okay. Danny holds on, but he's got how much time left? 1.5 minutes.
He cannot lose this game.
Pawn. Now he's much worse. Oh, that was a huge a5 is a good move.
Yep, he cannot lose this game. If he loses this game, the match is over. Queen f7. Okay, but it's queen g3. Rook f7 coming next. Rook f7.
And just a draw, but he can try to bleed this.
Play it out forever. Rook takes b7. A2 is hanging. That's not good.
I don't like that move because queen e5 and rook d8.
Yep, queen g3 back.
I would try to repeat. I would repeat.
Yep, you have to.
Got to repeat. He has to. What is he doing?
Queen b3. Was it queen b3 a repetition?
It was. What? No, I mean, I would not play for a win here. Although
rook f8 is a blunder, right? Because they're queen d6 checks.
Queen d6.
So be very careful if you're Teddy. Play rook b8. Just play rook b8 and don't lose this game. Okay, is Teddy playing for the win? I don't know who's playing
Danny's
for the win.
Got to find a repetition here. He's got to. He doesn't realize it.
Queen c7. Okay.
Oh, now he can bleed it.
How much time is left? Oh my gosh, 40 seconds.
40 seconds left. He's got to hurry.
If he plays 50 moves in this, he wins. So Danny has to make a draw in the next. Oh my gosh, Teddy's trying to do it.
Might not happen. 30 now. 30. Oh, it's
a draw by repetition. Oh my god, I don't think he would have been able to do it because Danny is fast on the pre-move and it's a 50 move, but he could have put an h4, just given up a pawn. Right? You can just give up a pawn and make a draw.
And Teddy did not. You can see by his face, he did not do that deliberately. I don't think he realized it was repetition.
Okay, and we're down to the final game.
We're down to the wire.
And we're in
another line.
In a tactical affair here. We love this line. It's been interesting all day. We have to ask them about this particular line and the other variations of the Scotch. F6 we saw earlier, and I think it's still a good move.
Yeah, but remember, Danny, there missed this bishop takes h7 line, so Teddy's got to improve on this. Another h3, so he believes in this line.
I don't believe in it.
I don't either.
I mean, the 95 is perfectly cemented on that square.
This is bad for white, Robert. This is just bad.
It has to be. Even G4.
C5 and D4.
Oh, gosh. C5 and C4. You know, you have options there. And Teddy finds it. What a find by Danny. That was a great move, by the way.
Bishop B5. Yeah, the only way to stay in the game, not lose a piece.
Yep.
B3.
All right, so with C4 and D4, right? So you're trying to get at these double pawns here, and black is up a pawn. So knight G6 would be a consideration. Bishop, even F5.
But bishop C5. He's got to be careful. Bishop takes C5. Bishop takes C5.
Oh gosh.
I
think you trade on C5 and win the B2 pawn. So at least
queen takes G5 check. And
I forgot G5 was hanging.
Okay. This is interesting because when you trade, C5 is hanging and G5 is hanging.
That's true. Oh, he blundered a piece. He blundered a piece. Oh my gosh, he just blundered a piece.
Oh,
and that means if this match is tied, we go to Armageddon.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
no, but Danny's
awful.
And look at the time. He's got plenty of time. Bishop d3. Anything wins here. Bishop b7 is fine.
Rook b5. Rook b5. Rook b5. That was a blunder.
Oh my goodness.
Rook b5.
Rook,
oh, and he went rook b6.
Rook b5. Yeah, he couldn't have saved
He
a
would have
piece.
attacked. He would have attacked the
Unbelievable.
knight.
Was that winning a piece for sure? I think
I think so.
I think it was.
Oh my gosh.
What are we seeing here? Rook b2. Just go bishop d3. Yep.
Okay, he found bishop d3. Now taking over b3. Just do it.
He's got to try.
You gotta do it.
And now rook f7, knight e5, knight c6, but it's not entirely over.
Yep, because you take c3 and a3, and there are chances to hold this. Wait, what? Why knight there? That's a bad knight move.
Still, knight c5, rook e7. f3 is also winning.
Yeah, but I like the outside pass pawn. It's giving more drawing
Definitely.
chances.
h5. Okay. Okay.
Oh, I don't know if my heart can take this.
I don't. This is pure stress.
Oh, the f2 pawn.
f3 though comes to the g4.
No, g4 makes the f4 pawn too weak, I think.
True. The problem is he's going to play h4. h4 is going to be a very...
Oh, that's a sneaky move. King e5.
Sneaky Teddy,
Play
king e5.
here.
He's got to do it.
Okay, king e6
now
is
knight,
the worst
knight
version.
c3, knight e4 is just...
Rook c1.
Pushing. Knight e4 though.
Ah, you're right, because you take with check and then the...
Oh, now the pawns fall. This is all but over.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the rules of the Armageddon? Is it just one game?
No. It's 4 games of 1 minute plus 1 second increment. But the players will get a breather, of course, after this. What must be heart-stopping
And
action.
we will also get a breather because this is.
Okay, the king is out.
Oh, if the pawn was on a2, Robert, rook h1.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay,
So
it's just a matter of not blundering, mouse slipping, and not stalemating.
So king g7.
Take that pawn, Danny's playing with fire, but this is mate, and he's going to promote.
Yeah, it's a back rank mate. He's getting.
Yeah, now he's going to promote, and this is over.
Oh my gosh! So that means after all that.
Oh, okay, no mouse slip.
That would be a tragic way to end.
Danny's just going to promote the f pawn, get that knight out of the way.
Yep.
Checkmate.
There are no stalemates here. You get the queen. Oh my gosh.
My goodness.
Rook
Four
b2,
games
queen
of
a3.
1+1. What if that's tied?
I don't know. I don't have all the answers.
Are we in uncharted territory here?
So we get 4 games of 1+1, then we get to Armageddon. So
okay.
There's a checkmate on the board. Danya, I know I need a break. I need to grab some water, stretch my legs.
Me too.
And maybe go on EKG because my heart is palpitating. We will be back very shortly. When we return, we'll have 4 games of 1 minute plus 1 second increment. It is a tied match at full time. There is extra time. Don't move a muscle. We will return very shortly. I hope you all had a second to breathe because I know I didn't. Behind the scenes, we were talking to the players. They were congratulating each other first on a great lead for Teddy Coleman, then a comeback by Danny Rensch. But here we are. This is it. We have 4 games of 1 minute plus 1 second increment. It's a mini match. If the score is 2-2 after those 4 games, then there's a single Armageddon game, which will be played white 5 minutes, black 3 minutes. Black gets the draw odds, and the player with the higher rating gets the choice of color in the army, and that would be Teddy Coleman. So if this match is 2-2 after these 4 games, Teddy gets to choose. And funnily enough, when we were talking to players during the break, Teddy was saying, "Hey, can we do this match in 5+1 instead of 1+1?" Of course, Danny proved his might in the bullet. But Danya, now that there are only 4 games remaining here, Danny had a big run. Can he continue it, or is it time to for Teddy to shine?
Momentum-wise, I think this is Danny's match. I mean, Teddy is a trooper. He's hard to shake, and we saw him coming back after painful losses. With that being said, he must feel the disappointment. It must be lingering in his mind. But with that, again, he's also angry, and he feels, he senses the victory. So that might actually play in his benefit. This is really up for grabs. I mean, this is going to be a fascinating playoff. In overtime, I can just feel it.
And Teddy did a Lawrence Trent because earlier today, Lawrence made the draw in a position where actually he had the advantage, but Teddy did not mean to get a 3-time repetition in the penultimate game. There were about 28 seconds or so. I don't know the exact time, but somewhere around 30 seconds remaining in the match clock. And if Teddy was able to prolong that game and still make the draw, then he would have won the match there. But Danny Rensch, when his back was against the wall, he was down 4 games entering the bullet. He came back with a fury. And right now, in just the 4 games remaining, I think, I might be wrong, but I think Danny has to stop with that damn scotch.
I agree. It's just every game. It's masochism. It's not working for him. His king is in such distress. I completely agree. He has to find something else and break the vicious cycle. With Black, they have another English. This has been going pretty well for Danny throughout this match, but Teddy's won some nice games here as well. Remember that knight on F5? We'll see how this unfolds.
Yeah, I think Teddy will cast off at queen c2, try to bring that knight to f5 once more. He plays queen to d2, I guess trying to take over the d file, but it doesn't really amount to much. I don't like bishop g4 because now the f5 square is soft, knight f5 right now, and then f4. Just start pushing your pawns up the board.
Yep, f4, g4. He decides to double, but b5 is a good move here. He's got to chip away, get some counterplay. B4, I don't know about.
Not a fan of that move.
No.
Rook d4.
Okay, very concrete.
Why not rook d4? Bring that rook up.
Forcing the knight back, yeah.
Okay,
Still much better, though.
f3,
okay.
and then f4. He's trying to induce knight f6, then f4, because then bishop takes f6 is a threat at some point.
First he comes back, but he'll need to press the button at some point and go f4. You can't keep pressuring forever.
Oh my gosh, that's a risky move.
It is.
But
okay, somehow.
You need to get that knight to d5, but there's no way to do it just yet.
Yeah.
And
f5 maybe for Danny?
I think f5 is... Wait, knight takes c5? Almost? Bishop e5 first, then knight c5.
And then c5.
Yep, knight takes c5.
I'm going to say rook e7, I meant. It's not over.
It's
Bishop
not, but
c3.
I take on c3 and then bring knight to d5.
True. What am I
saying? Knight f4, knight c5.
Oh, now the knight gets...
Oh, he brought the wrong way!
Yeah, but still dominating.
But that was a free pawn. You might as well steal that pawn.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. But
and
still,
Teddy's playing super fast. What is going on?
He adjusted. I think in his mind, he had this talk with himself. He just adjusted his strategy.
And knight takes d6 played so quickly there.
Look, 42 seconds. He's going to go e4, maybe play. Yeah.
I'm Bishop a little
f8.
Worried about the dark squares. Watch out for bishop c5.
Rook d7, though.
Rook d7.
But then queen
okay. He has the knight. Just take on c5, put your knight on d5.
Danny could have... Oh, no, he couldn't have. Sorry.
It's okay. Don't apologize. You owe me nothing. This is actually great for white, though. Actually, this endgame is so nice.
This is
c5. Yep.
Right. Look at that knight on d5. It's so much stronger. It's stronger than both of the rooks. c6.
Yeah, queen d4
Look at the
coming.
timer, but 36 seconds. He's got over half.
Queen d4. Bring that queen to d4. Pin the rook. What is that?
Yeah, I don't know about c. Okay, now f4 is a threat.
Rook c1.
Rook c8. Rook c8. Still
queen b6. Oh, then rook takes c5.
Rook d5. Don't go.
Don't blunder that.
Don't blunder that.
Okay, so what do you do here? Queen c4? Just play simple?
Queen c4, calm. Queen a7, probably a good move too.
Yep.
Yeah, I see what Danny's trying to exploit the king's weakness, but I don't see it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the king isn't weak enough. Queen can always come back to c4 if needed.
Rook c4, I think, ends it, or this.
Yes, he protects the c7 pawn, overprotection, in fact, and then you can slow play this. He has 23 seconds to Danny's 3, not 4 seconds. Just don't blunder a perpetual check.
Rook c2 is a little dubious, but now h4, he's making weaknesses. He's got to watch out.
He can't play queen c5. He's like, no good move here.
Yeah, he's got to play. Okay, queen d1.
Is he bringing the king to f2? Is that his plan?
But g5 has to be counterproductive right now. Queen c5.
Whoa. Okay, I thought queen d1, but the queen covers
e2.
it. King h2 or king h1 is also queen takes g5. There's got to be a check on f4.
F4. Queen d8. Queen d8 wins. Queen d8
wins. But see, rook
now
c8.
Rook f7.
Rook c8, queen g5.
Okay, nice.
Or queen e5.
Or this. Gosh. Anything wins.
Yep.
And this is just over.
And I think Teddy, with 8 seconds left, can hold this one off. But what a turnaround from the bullet portion of the timed match. Now Teddy showed some real force here, shocking me at least, to win that game convincingly.
That opening was executed so fast, and not all of his moves were perfect, but he gave himself enough time. When things got a little hairy, he had time to actually figure things out. He didn't panic.
And he stopped pre-moving queen e7, because remember that time when the bishop d3 happened and his queen was on e7? Yeah, not happening this time.
Robert, another scotch. What do you think of this? What must... Danny's just stubborn. He doesn't want to change.
I know what I'm drinking after the match, that's for sure.
I think I know as well. And especially because we need to steady our nerves.
I really do. And I have a match tomorrow that I have to play with Danny, and he's making me nervous.
Wow.
Okay, what's going on here? Castling on opposite sides of the board. That means that black would love to play a5, a4, start attacking that white king. And white, on the other hand, trying to push those pawns forward in h4, h5, but f6, a timely move here. Trying to trade the queens off and say, your attack will not be anything of note.
Yeah, I think Danny has dealt with. I mean, he's not lost that deal, but again, he's going to lose that pawn on e5.
Yep.
Again, I feel like he's worse. He's just not showing anything here. This already looks ef. It's very speculative at best. Now h4 though, he wants to go h5.
Queen e7.
H3, okay, I don't like bishop h3. I think he should have kept the h file open for his queen to come to h2 potentially.
Just ab3. Whoa, I would not have taken that pawn just yet because knight f6 check was never a threat. Bishop f4.
No, bishop f4.
Thank you.
Bishop f4 wins the queen.
Bishop f4 wins the queen.
Bishop f4. Bishop f4.
Oh gosh,
oh,
that would
man.
be. Oh, he misses it. He misses it. But
time.
a takes b3. He's still doing well. Queen a3.
Yep.
Right.
Queen a3,
Queen a3
or even d6, d5 maybe.
Yeah, d5 is good, but I like the queen trade because then your king is just permanently.
He's got to be careful down. That queen on e3 is subject. It can be attacked.
Rook
with
f2.
Rook e7.
Yeah, I think
now.
Rook f2.
Okay, now Rook e7. He's got to watch out.
Yeah, there's mating threats here.
What does he do?
What does he do? Queen f2, maybe?
Probably, but then he.
Then bishop f5 check. If you block with a rook e2 at bishop f5 check, a very important move. Bishop f5.
Very important, yes.
Oh, what a find.
Queen
c3,
rook
and
a1.
Queen f4 check. Oh, rook a1. That's sick.
A1.
That's so nice.
Found
Queen
that so
e2.
quickly. Okay, it's still Danny's still in the game because rook f5 c5 and then
no
queen can come through to a8.
There's no
queen d1. Queen d1's a threat.
Oh, queen d1 is a threat. There's no queen a because the knight covers. We were making fun of the knight on b6 earlier. Now it's very useful. Rook f1 here. Trade off the rooks and take on c4. h6.
This is also good. Now rook f1.
Rook f1.
Oh, he's on fire, Robert. He sees every move, every critical move.
Who is he, and what did he do with Teddy Coleman? His sleeves are rolled up. He is feeling it right now. And rook f1 comes on the board, and now all of a sudden, black is winning the knight on g5. Then you can just take on c4. Here, what would I do? Queen f5.
Okay, but the queen can always come back, yeah. And Teddy rolled up the sleeve. I mean,
queen f2 check or queen f6 check. Just
gotta defend the knight, though.
Yep. And now queen c5, all right. Queen takes b4 because the knight d5 is a check. Queen f2 check.
Savage.
I don't love that move order. Queen f2, the pawn on c3 was immune because knight d5.
And yeah, the thing is he's up so many. Queen f5. Queen f5 immediately wins.
And then take with the g pawn.
Yep, and king g6. Maybe Teddy Coleman's better. I mean, who is this guy?
Can you just take on g3 and push the pawn? There he does it.
Yeah, he's way too slow.
Queen
and
c4
Danny,
check.
with a situation, he just must win 2 in a row.
Yeah. And Teddy was actually kind of smart there by putting his queen on b8. He allowed himself to be able to pre-move. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things when you're not so experienced in bullet, you want to just make yourself as easy as possible for yourself, even if it isn't 100% accurate. That's a checkmate. That is 2-0 Teddy Coleman, which means Danny Rensch once again is in a must-win situation. He won the final game of the time portion of the match. They went to extra time. Teddy up 2-0. He's finding his form. And for Danny Rensch,
there we go with this again.
I don't know what the heck it is. I like it. He's been getting good positions with it. And I am going to need to study it later. But bishop c2. Drop that bishop back.
And now d4 comes with tempo. Knight c5 looks good, but Danny's got to be very careful here not to get just a lost position out of the opening. Okay.
d4?
Yeah, I guess then knight e6. Very suspect for black, I agree.
Yeah, because I was a queen a4 check, so I can get out of the pin, and then I take on e5. Or take on e5 first, and then queen a4 check in case of knight e6. So actually, what do you...
Knight e6.
Okay, just chop on e5 and queen a4 check. Or queen a4 check right away might be stronger.
He's got a bishop on c2.
Oh my gosh, what am I talking about? The whole time I've been looking at queen a4 check and there's a bishop there. You know it's been a long day for me. My second
commentary too.
Oh gosh, I've been trying to.
Oh, sorry.
No. You don't listen to me anymore.
Whoever is in Teddy Coleman's place, that person is also now you. Well, I like this endgame for Danny. I think he's got winning chances here.
Rook takes b7.
He's got more time. DC.
Bishop a4. Okay, you're not getting your king too much.
The problem is also go watch for bishop b6 because that rook is trapped.
Yeah, so bishop e4.
Rook c7.
Nice find there.
Knight d4 is a bad move. I think bishop d4. He's overthought it. Now rook e1 check can also come into play.
How about, can I take on f3? Is that possible at all? It's too risky.
Yeah, I think bishop b6 and castle and just basically say I'm slightly better and play that until.
But you're not going to castle throwing bishop a4 check.
And yeah, not only might I not castle, I'm liable to get mated here.
Ooh, this is not good. And Danny's taking his time here. Maybe just knight e6 and king f8 and just.
He's got to move. He's got to make a move. And there we go.
Look at Teddy just finding bishop a4 super quickly. Bishop a3 to follow.
So rook fast.
King g2 protect the f4.
What was that? The rook is hanging.
Oh my gosh!
The rook is hanging.
Oh my gosh! He protected the pawn, but he forgot about his rook.
Oh my god!
I forgot about his rook, but I'm not playing this game. I can sacrifice rooks.
Oh my god!
Oh my! He had the match. He had the match. Just take on d6, take on a7, and fight this one out.
Oh, that's close though. It takes knight f8.
No, but just take on a7, bishop b3, and push the a pawn.
But okay, it's down a full rook b8. The only thing is Danny can't move his rook from b6. This is unbelievable.
I mean, he was dead lost. He was just utterly lost.
Yep, and not only that, a draw would have won the match.
That was
the only thing he could have done to lose that. Yeah.
So if this a pawn gets a little further up the board, or if black allows f4 to kick this knight away from g5, then there's some chances. But rook e2, okay, rook e1 go for mate.
He's going to go for mate, yeah, and that's always a good strategy.
Going for checkmate? I agree.
Yeah.
a6. Yeah, this is done. Wow.
And now the thing is, another must win though. This does not. Danny cannot relax. He's got to win with white.
I can't breathe.
Win with white. Yeah. I can't eat. This is crazy. We have another game down to the wire.
And let me ask you, Daniel, when we get into this final game of Bullet here, if Danny wins and they get into the Armageddon tiebreak, which color do you think Teddy takes? The 5 minutes with the white pieces, but black gets draws, or is he going to take the draws with black?
I think Teddy's going to take black, actually, but we'll see.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he's going to take white. I think he doesn't.
You know Teddy better.
Well,
by the way,
go ahead.
Danny played 1d4. He finally listens to your advice in what may be the final game of the match.
He did. And right now it's a pretty closed position, which I don't like.
Oh, 95. He blundered. 95. Oh, my goodness.
And just take with the queen.
They're forgetting that their pieces are on the square.
Although there's a quick attack coming with g5, bishop d3.
Yeah, this is not a disastrous blunder. Bishop d3, g5. Exactly.
Yep. And
this is
actually not easy. I play e5, e5, e4.
Yes. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
E5, g5, and e4, gf.
Yeah, e5, g5, e4, gf, queen f6, and my queen's out of it.
But bishop c2, and you can't.
You're the worst. I don't like you anymore.
I know.
You were agreeing with me, then you stopped agreeing with me, and then I don't like you. But this is
I don't know
better.
what happens. Yeah.
The queen is protected on d6, very important, so you can get 94 in. And Teddy spent some time to make it happen.
That's a very strong idea.
Yes. And now just even, I wouldn't play c4 because I don't want to give the d4 square, but c4 just to kick that bishop off the diagonal if you really want to. But there's no need. There's no need.
Yeah, he can. Okay, g6. Now Danny's probably going to castle. Queen e7.
Oh, okay, he's going after the g5 pawn, and he's just winning that pawn.
I don't see a way to defend.
But rook h6 and then rook h1?
Yes. Oh, so clutch. So clutch by both of them in these critical moments. Rook h1.
Oh, this is scary. I may have taken on G5 first because
Yeah.
now knight F3 and F5.
D4. Oh, that doesn't look good though.
Oh, that's
interesting. Maybe
that actually might be a great move because the king can always run out to F6 if you start checking me too much.
Okay, so knight G5, rook H7. You want to go DE?
Yes, I do.
Interesting.
Oh, that's
a very level-headed response by Danny, though, keeping the tension. Bishop G2, maybe?
That's what I'm looking at. Bishop takes G2 and just try to kick that rook off the H.
Oh, rook C8.
Wow, what a tactical shot by Teddy. Rook C8 coming.
Bishop G6. He's got to play Bishop G6.
Oh, but then I just take
you
on
just
G6
take it.
the F pawn.
Oh, he gives it up. No, that's not going to get it done.
Bishop,
B5.
B5
okay, maybe.
and Bishop.
Take it. It's got to be lost.
Queen A3.
Queen A3.
Bishop E4.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh. Bishop G2. Bishop G2 and F3 check.
Everything's falling. All the holes. White's getting checkmated here. Bishop F3, Queen B4, Queen A5, yep. Rook C4.
Oh my gosh,
pouring it on. He's got no hope here. Zero.
No, he has some. Teddy did blunder a rook in the last game. And right now, is the queen trapped?
It is, because Rook C1 mate is coming.
Oh my God, the queen is trapped.
He resigns. That is the
Teddy
match.
Coleman takes the match, and you see a little fist pump there. Danny just shakes his head because he was the superior player in the time portion of the bullet. Teddy Coleman outlasts him there in their mini match. Woo, we're going to take a very quick break. When we return, we'll get the players' thoughts. We'll hear their frustrations. We'll hear their successes, their triumphs. But Teddy Coleman, congratulations to him. We will be back very shortly with the interview. And we have the players on the call here. A frustrated Danny. Danny, my heart goes out to you because your comeback was epic. We'll start with you. How did you find it within yourself? You were down 4 games heading into the bullet. How did you manage that?
I honestly just kind of blacked out for a little bit. And then my old self came back and started blundering and, I don't know. I mean, I was not happy with how I was playing. I felt like I had some opportunities that didn't convert on, but Teddy was awesome in the Blitz, definitely the better player. So frankly, I think he deserved to win the match given the way the direction of it went. And I almost pulled off a comeback, but not quite. So
yeah, I think I very nearly had a heart attack at the end there. So it was a great match.
Yeah.
Well, Teddy, a quick question. So in the end, when you lose that last game in the regular portion, as a self-proclaimed card-carrying tilter, how do you, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche question. How did you recover mentally and come back and play excellently in the Armageddon section, in the playoff section?
Yeah, I know that Robert knows this well, but I'm someone who's like actually very prone to be emotional. So that's like something that's kind of difficult for me. But kind of going into this match, I just kind of told myself that no matter what, like this was just going to be for fun. And so I don't know, I just tried to brush it off and say, okay, you know what? Like I played well in the first half, Danny played well at the end. Like, let's just do this.
Yeah, and I have a question for both of you. I'll start with you, Teddy. You were switching off between C4 and D4 in the early stages. And then with Black, you played E5 and also a Caro-Kann. How did you choose your openings and when to play them?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, I think C4 has been like a bit of a project for me. Like my long-term games have always been D4. So I just kind of, I don't know, it seemed like they were both working. And then at some point it just felt like C4 was actually working better. So I kind of stuck with that. Honestly, I tried to switch up with the Caro-Kann and just did not enough with what I wanted. So I was then kind of just mostly stayed with E5. Yeah, I don't know. It felt a little shaky, but it turned out okay in the end.
And Danny, we have a match tomorrow against the Spanish commentators. What are you thinking about that Scotch? Because you end up switching to D4 in the final game, and the Scotch didn't seem like it was really working out for you.
I don't know. Do we have to bag on the Scotch right now?
Well, I was going to send you. I was going to actually order you some Macallan and send it to you. So.
I mean, if I could use that. No, I don't really have a repertoire anymore, and I just thought I would. I looked at this Nepomniachtchi win from the Tata Steel in India in November 2019 over Vidit, and he played this H4 move, and I was like, it's a weird move order. I'll play it. So that was what I went for. I mean, obviously that line with Bishop D3 doesn't really bring much, but I think while the storyline was not great openings, I don't believe that that's why the games were ultimately lost. And if we look at the games, I think I obviously had some really bad positions out of the opening. I had other games where I was totally winning and just blew it. So I don't know. I mean, at the same time, you're my partner tomorrow. Whatever you want, baby. That's what I'm gonna do.
On a positive note, Danny, how good did it feel to checkmate Teddy on H7 in that game?
Oh man. I kind of was like, sorry. I mean, when he castled, like, it's not the first. Let's just say it's not the first time I've gone to Maytown on H7 like that. It was sweet. It was the highlight of my day and probably my year. Let's be honest.
Like going into the match, I sort of figured it was going to be 25 games or so, and at some point Danny was going to blunder, and at some point I was going to blunder. Like,
right.
I definitely hoped it wouldn't be that badly. But, still, yeah.
You did win blunder of the match, just for the record. That has to
had
absolutely.
I mean,
no. Yeah, the jury was unanimous in their decision.
I took loser of the match, so for sure. I mean, but I think that was the only time one of us hung mate and won, although some other blunders were also pretty egregious.
I also flat out hung a rook in the penultimate game. I
was so lucky. I didn't mean to play the E5 line again. I kind of blacked out. I was going to stick with this E6 I was doing, and not to say that it's anything special, but I was getting better positions with that than I was with this E5 shenanigan. So I kind of messed that up. Not to say I was getting good positions, but I felt more comfortable. So I probably should have switched earlier in the match if I had it to do over again.
Danny, question for you. Now that you just played one of these matches, do you feel like your commentary is going to be different when you commentate them?
Why did you laugh at that, Danya?
I don't know. Well, I know that, you might be replacing me given the things that I said. So all I'm going to say is don't listen to the playback. But I'm wondering the same thing.
No. You know what? It goes without saying, and this is like, it sounds like the obvious cliche, like, you remember how hard it is, but it really is true. Obviously, we get to commentate at the best players in the world, but holding your nerves together and their ability to do what they do, not to say that it always doesn't blow our mind, but I literally feel like just like putty, right? I feel like I'm just like barely holding on, hoping not to blunder, doing my best. And, so whenever I do it at a roughly 2,500 level on Chess.com, and it's really not good enough, to hold your nerves together in matches like this. So to see those guys do it, I mean, the only thing it does is it reminds me of like just how bleep and incredible the best players in the world are. And we're doing it for like pennies and bragging rights. And now I got to make a video of Teddy's best game of the match. That was the bet. So I gotta think about that. But they're doing it for tens of thousands of dollars, right? And it's just insanity. So I got nothing but respect for the best. So
I also have to say, on the same note, like, Danya, I was actually watching one of your old videos last night of you playing.
Were you lost?
I'm sorry to hear
lost
that.
on the internet or something?
No, but I someone had told me to check this out, and watching some of your like 30-second games against Andrew Tang, and like 1-1 feels hard enough. Like, I do not know how you guys do it. It is crazy. So
we're addicts, but I appreciate it.
And there is something to that, right? Like playing more, and I did try to play this week heading in, but I mean, okay, anyone can check my games and meant like, oh, Danny, now you played 30 Blitz games in a week instead of, 0, right? I mean, like, I'm not playing, and there is just something to that, right, Danya? I mean, like, having the ability to like hold yourself together in those scrambles is a very difficult skill to have if you're not working out that muscle, right? I mean,
Definitely.
I don't know what else I was supposed to do besides like try not to blunder, and I didn't. I blundered. So,
well, there were many time scrambles when we were actually very impressed with the quality of play. but obviously we were eating our hearts out sometimes. They're hanging
Of
pieces.
course, no, of course, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm a little scared to go back and look at the games or look at the commentary.
Nope, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm not gonna go back. I don't want to hear anything Robert has to
Forbidden.
say. Are you kidding me?
Never go back. We're moving on up here, but we actually were commending both of you quite a lot because the play was very high level, and obviously the match was very close. And earlier on, Teddy, you went out to a big lead, and Danny cut into it. But we did really think you guys played well, and you also know that I wouldn't lie to either one of you to your face.
Never.
I lie behind your back, but not to your face. So
I decided to bring up chat to see what they're saying, and now I can see. Good. Daryl Morey and Ben Feingold going to town. Eat your heart out, guys. Bring it on. Bring it on. Anyway,
Well,
this was really great. Honestly, I'm disappointed. I wanted to make it past the first round, but Teddy, you were the better man. And honestly, you played much better chess, I think, overall. I think I got away with some in bullet to make it closer than it was, but don't feel like I played great, but you played awesome, man. So
I appreciate it. It really felt like you gave me a constant heart attack in the last third.
So who are you playing next?
Levy.
Levy. Yeah.
Levy's good. Levy's good at bullet, dude. You got to get a lead.
I gotta practice my bullet. Maybe Danya, maybe we can play some 30
Absolutely,
second
some 30 or some 10-second chess. I'm down. Well, guys, congratulations to you, Teddy. This was an incredible match. So we appreciate it. We were thoroughly entertained for a minute.
Thanks,
one. And I still love both of you. So,
And we
eat your heart out, Danny.
Despite the razzing. Well, now I got to go home and, look my kids in the face and tell them what happened. And they were like, they always just assume it's a foregone conclusion that I'm going to win. I'm like, do you not know that anyway, so this is going to be embarrassing. Teddy, thanks for sending me the walk of shame.
Hey man, I think you stood tall, man. I think you're selling yourself short, and it could have gone either way.
Well, thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
that. Best of luck, dude. Seriously.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll let you two go off, and we see the bracket here because Teddy Coleman won that one. It was a very close matchup. He ends up winning in the mini match. They were tied after regulation, wins the mini match. He goes on to face Levy Rosman in the next round. And Danya, after we saw that, I saw Levy in the chat saying, Danya, don't you compare Teddy's bullet skills to my skills? And I think that's true. I think Levy, Gotham Chess, he has shown in his matches and just over time, he's a better blitz player than Teddy is. Teddy got much better throughout that match, but there was a lot of shaky bullet by Teddy Coleman.
Absolutely. And Levy has a track record of excellent bullet plays, over 2,700. He's an amazing player. So Teddy will have some serious preparing to do. Definitely a tall order. And the amazing thing is we still have some awesome first round matches to bring to you guys, including one that's tomorrow. What do you think about that match, Robert? Carissa against Dina Polito.
Well, I think that Carissa Yip has been in the chat nonstop, and hopefully she can also play some great match under the heat of the moment, because as Teddy and Danny just talked about, it's really difficult to play hours on end, and Carissa's a fantastic player. She's young. She's a bright future and a great present in front of her. She beat Ju Wenzhou Black in the Karen's Cup, so we know her prowess. I have not quite watched her in the online format. I've definitely never seen Dina Polito play online, but he's got that old school muscle. So when I think about this matchup, I think the young up and coming talent versus that old school solid Petrov and D4, not really letting you pounce on him tactically style, and that can be really hard and frustrating in a match.
Absolutely, Dean. So experienced, so solid. I've played him over the board. I can attest to that. So that will be coming your way tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. Don't go anywhere. Catch your breaths for 24 hours, even less, and we will be right back into the action.
We will indeed. And I have a full day tomorrow because not only is it this Carissa Dina Polito match, which we have the call together for, it is USA, American English versus Spanish commentary. We have Luis and Carlos. They are trying to take us out. I want to, just give a shout out to them. They do tremendous commentary for event after event. And we'll have to test our mettle against these great commentators. And Danya, as we wrap up this show, it was the marquee matchup. And it lived up to the hype because Danny Rensch got off to a rough start. He said, just quite frankly, Teddy played better chess than I did. But when the going got tough, Danny got going. He tied the match at the last possible minute and sent it into overtime. Teddy came out on top, surprising us all, because I think if you asked Teddy himself, he would have said he's the heavy underdog in that bullet. But Teddy Coleman surprised us. And Danya, any final thoughts for our many viewers who we should thank as well?
Well, this was just incredible. I love both of them, both Teddy and Danny, but unfortunately there must be only one winner. Both put in clutch performances, so many time scrambles, so many games coming down to the wire. It was incredibly entertaining, and we'd like to thank the thousands of you who are here with us. The viewers make things like this fascinating. And Robert, a big thank you to you as well. I was considering refusing to commentate with you tomorrow, but you kind of redeemed yourself more or less. So this was just awesome. Thank you to the players. Thank you to the fans. And I'll just say one thank you to you, Robert. You savor this because this will be my last thank you to you.
Well, I really appreciate it, because I should thank you as well, because it's always fun when you join along for the ride and do the commentary. We'll be back tomorrow covering that Carissa versus Dean matchup. But in the meantime, if you're on the East Coast like I am, get some sleep, because it is late. If you're in Europe, I don't know what you're doing up so early. If you're elsewhere in the world, just get on with your day, have more chess, and stay healthy, stay safe. Back tomorrow with the English versus Spanish matchup, and then more of the IM GM Speed Chess Championship. We're out of here. Have a fantastic night. Thank you so much for watching the show.
Guys.